everybody, and welcome to Season 1, Race 1 of F1 Tonight. And I am joined in the commentary box this evening, not by Adrian, but by another one of our esteemed colleagues, and that's Nikki Visser, who drives for F1 Tonight NL. Nikki, welcome.
Welcome. Good evening, everyone.
So, Nikki's going to be assisting me and co-commentating with me this evening. But first and foremost, let's run through the teams and the drivers for this evening. So, first off, for Ferrari, we have Matt Goodyear and Tony Foster. For Mercedes, we have Tom Stevens and Callum White. For Red Bull, we have Adrian Rich. Some of you who watch our streams may know him as my co-commentator for F1 Tonight NL on a Thursday night. He's actually in the cockpit this time, so let's see how he does. And his teammate, as I said there, Thomas Cook. Then we have Alfa Romeo, and that's Dylan Platt and Ryan Lee. Then we have Haas, Luke Slade and Gary McKenny. Then we have the Haas team of Daniel Burt and Josh Diggles. Then we have the Rocket Williams, Phil Harris and Anton Gillard. Then we have Toro Rosso, Sean Gregory, all on his lonesome at the moment for Toro Rosso. So we're awaiting a driver to be assigned as a teammate for him. Then we have Renault, no drivers assigned to Renault as yet this season, and also same applies there for a Racing Point. Nikki, normally at this point, when I'm co-commentating with Adrian, obviously we've got a little bit of background with the Dutch League. We've got no background at all with any of these guys, really, do we?
No, not really. These, they've been racing for, I don't even know how many years, but they're all very fast drivers, very consistent drivers. So this is most likely going to be a very interesting race.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, obviously, Nikki, is that none of these guys, as far as I'm aware, I think there is one, I believe, which is Phil Harris, has raced 100% races, but most of these guys, well, the majority of them, haven't raced a 100% race distance race, have they?
Not that I'm aware of. Like you say, Phil Harris has, for sure. One or two others might have, but yeah.
That's how it is at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look at the track now. And we will be here at Albert Park in Melbourne. And it's a great little circuit to open the season. And let's go through some of the information on that. Circuit length is 5.303 kilometres or 3.295 miles. Total race length is 307.574 kilometres or 191.118 miles, and it's a 58-lap race. 16 corners, 3 sectors. Sector 1 takes us from the start-finish to just before turn 6. Sector 2 takes us to just before turn 11. And obviously the final sector starting at that point, taking us to the start-finish line. 3 DRS points, but 2 DRS detection points. So the first detection point is just as they're in the third sector approaching turn 14, with the first activation as they come out of 16 on that start-finish straight to the end of the pit lane. And then the second DRS activates out of turn 2 going down towards turn 3. The second DRS detection point is just as they're going into the third and final sector before turn 11, with the activation taking them out of 12 round towards turn 13. It's an interesting, I mean, it's a good track, but there are a few tricky corners on here, aren't there, Nikki?
Yeah, this really is not my favourite track at all. It's difficult, it's technical, it's twists and turns and bumps and hard acceleration, hard braking. It's difficult. It's a really difficult track.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, obviously, having done a little bit of driving myself, I mean, that turn one, fairly straightforward, but to get yourself lined up right for turn two so you don't go onto the grass or hit the boards on the right-hand side at the speed you're travelling at can be quite tricky at times, can't it?
Yeah, definitely, especially with the bumps coming out of corners. It's not easy, especially if your driver all assists turned off. It can be very tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you've got turn 3, which is a very hard right, and then turn 4, 5. 5 is quite a high-speed turn, but you've got to be careful on the exit of that you don't go too far over to the left-hand side onto that rough, and that kicks you into the barrier on the right-hand side. Turn 6, 7, pretty straightforward. You then got turn 8 as you build up round that corner to the double turn right-left of 9, 10. Tricky sometimes on the exit of 9 and 10, getting yourself lined up. Watch yourself there. Watch for turns 11 and 12, on the exit of 12 especially, because that's where you have the DRS activation point. And it's very often the drivers will just lay down a little bit too much power, and then all of a sudden, it's, the car just goes away from them. So that's the track.
Actually got...
Yep. Nicky?
They actually got a bumper coming out of the corner and a ditch afterwards as well. So the car really unsettles himself coming out of that turn 12. It's really tricky.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It can be, quite tricky indeed. So watch for that. Watch for the guys on those exits, because if there are going to be any mistakes, those are the places that they're likely to be. Okay, so let's now go to the guys on the track. They've started Q1. And let's run through the riders that we have with us this evening. So, Adrian Rich, who we're with at this moment in time. And he's just on his outlap. So, first driver...
Yeah, we have a few drivers that are on the fast lap now. We've got...
Adrian's actually come into the pits there. So, Dylan Platt in the Alfa Romeo, he's out there. Ryan Lee in the second Alfa. Then we have Phil Harris there in the Rocket Williams. And Luke Slade, he's in the pits at the moment. He's in the McLaren. Thomas Cook, teammate to Adrian Rich in the Red Bull, also in the pits this moment in time. Then we have Matt Goodyear in the Ferrari. He's followed on track by Daniel Burt in the Haas. Then we have Tom Stevens in the Mercedes. Gary McKenny currently in the pits. Sean Gregory, he's on his outlap, the solo Toro Rosso driver there. And then we have Callum White in the second Mercedes. So Ryan Lee sets the first fast lap of the race, and he's done 1:23.2. He's now dropped down onto 2. Matt Goodyear setting a 1:23.206. My goodness me, so 6 thousandths away from Ryan there. Dylan Platt, he's on a 1:23.6. Tony Foster in the second Ferrari there on a 1:23.7. Let's just have a look at the tyre choice that these guys are going with at the moment. So all the runners going majority with the softs. Only exception there is Dylan Platt. And I've got to say, that's a good run on the hard tyres, isn't it, Nicky?
It is very much a good run on the hard tyres, especially if you see that the guys in first and second are doing soft, and he's only 410 soft, so that's quite impressive. Yeah. And again, it's hard to say what Big Book can do because we haven't seen them drive yet, so yeah. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see. This is as new to us, as believe me, as it is to you, because we don't have any form on these drivers at this moment in time, so very difficult to say. Let's go actually with Phil Harris in the Rocket Williams. He's just coming round 10 towards 11 and 12. Let's go on board, watch him through that chicane. You've got to see, you've got to really hit those, not go too far on the left there. He's got the DRS coming down now to turn 13. Hard right, get over to the left-hand side. Don't go too far. 14. Getting it ready to come into the final little sort of chicane there. 15. You've got to watch the exit of 15 there because you're laying down power. Oh, he's into the pits anyway, so that's fine. And let's go with Thomas Cook in the Red Bull. He's just coming round turn 10 now out of the second sector. Oh, sorry, no, apologies. He's actually coming down to turn 9 now, going round turn 10. And he's coming up towards turn 11, so he's at the end of the second sector coming towards the third sector. Let's again watch him through this 11, 12, and this is the one where I expect to see drivers making those potential areas around there. Oh, we've got a yellow flag there. I think that was actually Callum on the right-hand side there. So Tony not looking too bad at this moment in time. Nicely round 15. Good power down round 16.
For a fast lap?
I think he is. Let's have a look at this.
Adrian is in the fast lap.
And he does a 1:23.4, puts him up to P4. So there we have Sean Gregory. He's in P5 at this moment in time. Dylan Platt's dropped down to 6. Tony Foster down to 7. And Adrian Rich now.
Tom Stevens just at first.
Wow.
21.394.
21.394. That is over a second faster than his teammate Callum White. Adrian Rich setting a 1:24.0 there. But what a fantastic run there from Tom Stevens. Now, as I said, obviously we're not all familiar with these drivers at this moment in time, but we do or have heard or know of Tom Stevens through one of our sister leagues. I like to say sister league, and that's Synergy, and he's done great guns there. But look at this here. I mean, that is phenomenal. A 1:21.3. I mean, 1.2 seconds faster than his teammate. I mean, that's quite impressive for an opener.
Oh yeah, it is. Especially considering this is Q1, so want to see what Q3 is going to bring us then.
Well, but Nicky, I mean, let's be fair here. Yeah, it's a great run, and certainly it's going to put him in good stead. But we are, as you say, rightly in Q1.
Callum.
But it's not just about the Qs, is it? I mean, you know, he's got 58 laps ahead of him. The qualification obviously helps, but
20.8.
oh my goodness, look at that, Callum White there. Indeed, fantastic result there from Callum White. Look at that. That is impressive.
We got Luke Slade coming up for a fast lap. Phil Harris actually just started his fast lap. He's coming up to sector 2 now.
Yeah, that is, I've got to say, that is fairly phenomenal, really.
Looks like 21.299. Yellow.
Well, that is certainly looking very good indeed. He's into the pits now, is Callum.
Phil Harris will be the last one to actually set a time for the first timed lap.
So Phil Harris in the Rocket Williams there. He's going to be coming
P4.
across. So Phil Harris, good run from in there. 1:21.557 from Phil Harris. So good run from him. So at this moment in time, we've got 7 minutes remaining of this Q1 session. All the drivers will go through, just to remind you. Under normal circumstances, you'd have 20 drivers. And then from those 20, Q1 would reduce it down to 15. And then those 15 would go into the second qualification session. And that's what we're going to be seeing very shortly.
In about 6 minutes' time.
So at this moment in time, Team Mercedes, I've got to say, they're looking pretty strong at this moment in time. Callum White and Tom Stevens there. But also, we can see the McLaren there of Luke Slade. So he's split those Mercedes currently in P1 and 3. Then we have Phil Harris. He's just coming into the pit in the Rocket Williams. He's in P4. Gary McKenny in the second McLaren. He's currently in P5. So both Mercedes and McLaren looking strong in this first queue. Dylan Platt in the Alfa Romeo. He's in the pits. And then we have Matt Goodyear in the Ferrari. He's also in the pits. Ryan Lee, the second Sauber, or Alfa Romeo rather, he's in the pits as well. Daniel Burt for Haas, he's in the pits. Thomas Cook is out on track. Sean Gregory is also out on track. Tony Foster in the second Ferrari.
Coming with an improvement. Tony is coming with an improvement. It was 7/10 faster in the second sector on this lap.
Oh,
he hit the wall.
And look at that, he's gone into the barrier on the exit of 16 there. He's got wing damage, but that's it. He's going to have to come into the pits now. But
Even
fortunately,
though he still improved this time by 3.5 tenths.
Yeah, he did have that impact there on the barrier on the right-hand side out of 16. And it is tricky, though, isn't it? When you're coming around 16, you've got to really watch it as you hit the apex of the corner and on that exit, because you're going to go over to the left-hand side. You're probably going to kick up a bit of dirt, but you don't want to go too far, do you? It is difficult.
Yeah, especially the last corner is, you can do it with full throttle, but it's difficult. I usually just lift off a slight bit in the middle of the corner, just to generate as much oversteer as you want in that corner instead of understeer.
Yeah.
Because the wall is very close to the track.
Very, and I mean, if you've done that corner well, you will kick up the dust, won't you?
Yeah, you will. You have to.
Oh, dearie me, it looks like Phil Harris has actually gone out. So I don't know if Phil Harris has actually DNF'd.
I think he just retired.
Oh, okay.
This session.
So he's retired from that session. He's happy with the time that he set there. But I've got to say, I'm still impressed with Dylan Platt. He was on the hard tyre there. And still managed to finish 6th in the queue. So I think that's a good omen for him, isn't it? I mean, it suggests to me that he could be looking at a potential one-stop.
Well, yeah, the first qualifier is not for race tyres yet. This is just he probably used the medium tyre just to get the feeling for the car. So I would see him having a medium tyre in Q2 as well. So that means he's going to start on that tyre then, if he does that. Indeed.
And whilst we're having a little bit of a lull here, we want to obviously point out and send our deepest condolences to Antoine Hubert's family. He's the F2 driver who very sadly passed away during the F2 GP. Yeah, it was pretty harsh. It is one of those things, unfortunately, in the real world of racing. And I know that a lot of drivers were certainly affected by that. And but the race for the F1 went ahead on the Sunday, and obviously all the drivers showed respect. And equally here in F1 tonight, you will see that a number of drivers are either running with a black helmet or a pink helmet. Pink obviously being the colour of the helmet that Antoine Hubert raced with. Young man, only 22, very, very sad loss to the sport. And to pay our respects on race 19, which was his race number, we will go silent. So lap 19 of the race will be silent as a mark of respect to Antoine Hubert.
Yes, indeed. Very sad loss for the motor.
Yeah.
motor industry.
Well, yeah, and for for
Motorsport
racing,
industry.
it really is very sad. But as I say, Nicky, it just goes to show, the real world of high-speed motorsports. Obviously, safety is paramount, but the speed these guys are travelling at, unfortunately, these sort of things can happen.
It's impossible to make it safe.
Yeah.
It can't be done. There's always a certain danger, and that danger also brings an adrenaline rush, and that's why.
Well, let's be fair.
I would think people
We
drive
watch it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Indeed.
obviously, the 80s were particularly bad, and that's when the safety came in. But yeah, I mean, certainly now with the monocoque as well on the cars, and all the additions of the halo as well to protect the driver's head. I know there was a lot of controversy when the halo was being spoken about and being tested, but it's sort of gone in there. I haven't seen any drivers complaining of it, but it is an important
It has
safety
proven its
factor.
worth over a few classes. There has been a number of accidents where tyres or even cars landed on top of the halo. So
yeah,
the halo definitely proved its worth so far already.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. So we're coming now to the end of Q1.
Tom Stevens is on a fast lap still.
Oh, is he? Oh, let's have a look at that then.
He is.
Let's ride here with Tom Stevens on his final lap. Comes through 11, 12. Oh, and he's gone right under. That's what we were talking about, wasn't it? On that exit of 12, he's gone into the gravel, and he's had to scrub that lap. But that's what we were talking about, wasn't it, Nicky?
Yeah, it was. He actually got a bump and then a ditch. It, really unsettled the car. But we've got Thomas Cook on a fast lap as well. That is going to be the last one for this session to do a fast lap.
So let's ride with Thomas Cook. Comes around 16. Now into the straight. It's looking a good time. Should beat his previous. Yeah, he's done a 1:23.6. Hasn't improved his position, but or his time. He did a 1:23.496. So that is the session now done.
Yeah, by the looks of things, they really are like close groups as well during the race, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, certainly some great. I mean, obviously that 1:20.8, phenomenal there from Callum White. And then we have
Did Dylan Platt actually do his run on a hard tyre instead of a medium tyre?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Dylan Platt did indeed do his run on the hard tyre. And that was a 1:22.8. That's what I'm saying. He smells to me like he's going to go for a single stop. But Daniel Burton, a Haas, also on the medium, a 1:23.4. So quite respectable. As you can see, very, very close there, certainly from 6 down. So Q2 is going to be interesting. For those of you unfamiliar with F1, Q2, as I say, normally we'd have 15 drivers. In this particular instance, we've got the 13. But at the end of this queue, 3 drivers will be dropped. So only 10 drivers go through to the final queue of Q3. So those drivers that are left, they will assume their respective positions on the grid. Positions 11, 12 and 13. And then the 10 go through. The 10, however, that go through, and again, this is for those of you that are unfamiliar with F1, if you're new to F1, indeed new to the broadcast, they will have to start the race on the tyre with which they set their fastest lap in Q2. So the drivers in the top 10, whatever tyre they set their fastest lap on is the tyre they will be starting the race with. So strategy does come into play here. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. The final 3, so positions 11, 12 and 13, will have a free choice of tyre. So they will be able to select whatever tyre they wish for the start of the race. Okay, so Dylan Platt is already out on track.
And on the hard tyre again.
And on the hard tyre again. So this is interesting.
So that would indeed be a one-stopper then.
It smells very much to me like Dylan's going to be looking for a one-stop on this race. And that's, I mean, it's quite a brave move, I've got to say. But it is doable.
Yeah, we got his teammate on the medium tyre.
So I'll stay on board for Dylan out of this final sector and for the following lap. As he's effectively the first driver out. Let's see what he can do.
Sean Gregory on mediums.
Yeah, Thomas Cook.
4 drivers on the track, 3 on mediums and 1 on the hard tyre.
So Dylan now starting his fast lap. Coming down to the right-hand turn of turn 1. Got to watch it on the exit there. Round 2, into 3, hit that DRS. That takes you down towards that hard right of turn 4. Very heavy braking into that. Hit that apex, go to the left-hand side. Line up for turn 5, the left-hander. Now you've got the high speed turn there. Turn 5, leading you down towards 6, 7. Wind it up, round turn 8, get onto the left-hand side on the exit, ready for 9, 10. Into 9, hit that apex, nicely done, 10. Go over to the right-hand side, watch that barrier. Then you want to stay more or less following the contour, straight a line as you possibly can. Round, out of the third, into the third sector, turns 11, 12. DRS activation point there, leading you round towards turn 13. Hard right, watch the exit, come down to 14, really ride it round that 14, into 15 now, rocket right down, second, third gear, wind it up, ready to get onto that straight, DRS activation, onto that start finish straight. And Dylan Platt sets a 125.9, so not as fast as he did on the previous queue. Looks like Ryan Lee coming round now.
Also got Tom Stevens on the hard tyre. He just started his fast lap.
So Tom Stevens has decided to go for the hard tyre option. Ryan Lee in the Alfa Romeo we're riding with at this moment in time.
Got Sean Gregory at P1 at the moment.
Sean Gregory has indeed taken P1 with a 124.7, so we're not quite seeing the times we saw as yet, but he is on a medium, and I'm pretty sure he was on the soft on the previous queue. Ryan Lee takes third provisional place in this Q2 with a 135.3, definitely.
Oh, he crashed out.
And he's gone into the
Ryan
wall.
Lee crashed out.
He's crashed out on the exit of 1 into 2, went over to right-hand side, hit the dirt straight into the barrier, and that's taken him out now. Well, I think he's going to be finishing, he's going to certainly be out of this queue with that 135.3, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. And yellow flag is out. So the yellow flag is out now. This is problematic, obviously, for those drivers out on track. It's going to definitely affect Tom Stevens.
21.9 on the hard tyre.
Yeah, Tom Stevens indeed. We're actually on board with Tom now. Tom has set a phenomenal lap, a 121.9. As Nicky points out, on the hard tyre, that's the hardest compound tyre available this weekend. And if that isn't laying down the gauntlet, I don't know what is. Fantastic run there from Tom Stevens. And Tony Foster in the Ferrari was provisional second. He's dropped down to 3 with a 123.0. Matt Goodyear, his teammate in the Ferrari, a 123.021. So only 6 thousandths between the two Ferrari drivers, and those times not too bad. I don't think they'll keep that 2-3 position. Oh, and Adrian Rich there in the Red Bull. Adrian Rich sets a 122.7, so that puts him provisionally into P2. But we've also...
P3,
oh, no,
because
P3
Luke
now,
Slade just
because
took
look
pole.
at this. We've just seen... Sorry, I do apologise for that, but we've just seen Luke Slade there in the McLaren set the fastest time, a 121.1, but he is on the soft tyres, only 8 tenths away. I mean, those soft tyres should be considerably faster than the hard tyres, shouldn't they? And it only goes to show what a great lap Tom Stevens has done. But a great run from
Yeah,
Luke,
I think
certainly.
on average the soft tyres are like 1.5 seconds per lap faster. So interesting to see what Tom Stevens can do in Q3, the session after this one.
Absolutely, it certainly will be. Let's see what he can do. He's sitting at second at the moment. Adrian Rich provisional third, sorry, with a 122.7. Matt Goodyear in the Ferraris coming in. He's done a 123.0. Tony Foster, his teammate, 123.0 as well. Dylan Platt in the Alfa Romeo out on track at the moment, and he's also on those hard tyres. He's done a 123.5, looking to better that. In the meantime, Daniel Burt has assumed that P3 position with a 122.3. So Daniel Burt in the Haas there has gone up provisional P3 in this Q2 with a 122.3. It's not a bad run, I've got to say. He's also on the softs, so a good run there from the Haas driver. The Red Bull's queuing up to get in the carriage at this moment in time in the pit lane there. Actually, let's run on board with Phil Harris. And Phil Harris in the Rocket Williams. Just coming round turn 8 now. Callum White starting his fast lap. Should be a good one. And he's gone onto the softs. Now that's interesting, because he was playing around with the hards in Q1. So I would hate to think what he's going to set on that. But Phil Harris taking it easy, round 11 and 12. Yeah, I think he scrubbed that lap by the looks of it.
He's on his out lap.
He's on his out lap. Oh, right.
Start his lap soon. Yes.
Okay, so he's actually on his out lap. So he's getting himself ready. Actually, we'll stay on board.
Callum White, 120.9 on the soft.
Oh my goodness me, fantastic run there from Callum White in the Mercedes. 120.1 on that soft tyre. Phil Harris coming round now, ready for his fast lap. Into 2, got to watch it on the exit
Gary
there.
on the fast lap as well.
Gary McKenny in the McLaren, also now getting ready for his fast lap. He's on the mediums. So interesting to see how he'll do there. Phil Harris coming around turn 5 now. Down to 6, 7. Round 8, and you can really build up some speed round 8. You've got to get on the left-hand side for the exit, ready to come into turn 9. Into 10. Nicely executed there. Watch the barrier on the right-hand side. And I always find it interesting to see the different line that the drivers take round 10. Some really cut into that corner, others just sort of follow it round. But good run from Phil Harris at this moment in time. And it's looking quite a respectable time. I think he's going to be probably hitting around about the 123.
Yeah, low 23, high 22s.
Coming round 15 now. Into 16. It's all on the exit here. Nicely executed on the exit there. It could even be faster than that, actually.
It is.
It is. It's a 120.9. Phil Harris takes the pole. What a fantastic run there from the Rocket Williams driver. And I was watching the times and I was thinking, actually, this is going to be good. And it was. Great run there from Phil Harris.
And we've got Thomas Cook starting his fast lap now.
So Thomas Cook, let's go with Thomas in the Red Bull. Round exiting 2 now. Down towards turn 3. Hard right here. You've got to really watch it on the exit. Don't overcook it. Watch your entry into 4. And exit out of 5. Nicely done there. Coming down to the right, left, 6, 7. Winding up now around the long right-handers, turn 8. Getting ready for his approach into 9. Lining up on the exit of 10. Nicely done there. Watch his line round here. Comes very close to that apex, just trying to cut the corner as much as possible, make as many straight lines as you possibly can. Nicely through 11, 12 there. Down to 13, and I think we're starting to see the track come alive now, Nicky, because these times are starting to fall now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. The driver's really set up putting some rubber down on the track, so...
Oh, he mapped it up, round 15 on the exit there. That's cost him. And out of 16 as well. That has definitely cost him. I think he could have been quite easily looking at a 121, mid 121 there, but just overcooked it round 15 and 16. But a good run there.
That last sector wasn't clean.
Yeah, and so he had to dial it down.
Platt on the medium tyres now, and faster as well. He's coming onto the straight now, so.
All right, let's get on. I
would expect to see him go to P5.
Dylan Platt, closest line goes to P4. Nice one, a 121.4 there from Dylan Platt. That's the Alfa Romeo driver there. So good run from him. 121.4. 2 minutes, just under 2 minutes of this session now remaining, and we're starting to see the field spread out a little bit. We've obviously got the Phil Harris, Callum White in the 120s. Then we have Luke Slade, Dylan Platt, Tom Stevens in the 121s, Daniel Burp, Thomas Cook, Adrian Rich in the 22s, Matt Goodyear, Tony Foster, Gary McKenny in the 23s, and Sean Gregory currently in the 124. Ryan Lee we saw go out earlier, 135, and as I expected. So Ryan Lee in the Alpha will be starting in P13 for the start of this race.
We've still got drivers doing the outlap now, so I would see some people still jumping places if they can.
I think Gary McKenny could stand a good opportunity here. From what I recall from his Q1, he's actually coming round turn 10 into 11-12 now. He's on his outlap at this moment in time.
It's Sean Gregory on an outlap. Gary McKenny is on an outlap.
So Gary McKenny will certainly cross the line in time to start a fast lap. So we'll stay on board with him. Oh dear, he's got... oh no, he's got the Ferrari ahead of him. Really impeded him there round turn 15. Hopefully that hasn't cost him too much, but that was... bad move there. I think that was actually Matt Goodyear that was in the middle of the track there, not realising Gary was coming round.
Yeah. Goodyear starting his fast lap as well, so we got 3 drivers with a fast lap still.
So we're on board at the moment with
top
Gary
10
McKenny.
To play for.
Yeah, still these drivers could do it. Gary McKenny currently in P11, so he is fighting to get into that Q3 session. He's on the soft tyres, he is pushing, and he needs to better his time by at least 3/10. But Tony Foster's already crossed the line, so yeah, 3/10 is his minimum target that he's looking at to better that previous time.
4.5 tenths up.
4.5 tenths up on his previous best. Coming around
Sean
10.
Gregory crashed out.
Sean Gregory has crashed out, so he'll be starting P12. Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso. Yeah, I can see him there on the exit of 12 there. Fortunately, didn't impede Gary McKenny. He's coming up now to turn 13. It's not a fast time. It's not a fast time. So Gary McKenny is going to be starting P11. He is not going to better that time. I think it was, unfortunately, that exit hour 15 getting him ready for the thing. I think that threw him, didn't it?
Yeah, there was something that spooked him.
Oh, sorry, I tell a lie, he does, look at that. He made it up. How on earth did he do that? That is phenomenal. A 1:22.3. Fantastic run there from Gary McKenny. Well, my apologies, Gary. I was counting you out there, my friend, but you came back in that final sector and really whooped it. Goes into P6, gets through to Q3 and drops Tony Foster in the Ferrari out of Q3 into P11, start on the grid. So Tony Foster will be starting row 6, P11. Alongside him will be Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso, and bringing up the rear. Who was it that was bringing up the rear? That was Ryan, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, Ryan Lee.
Yeah,
P13.
Ryan Lee. So Ryan Lee in the Alfa Romeo. He'll be starting row 7, P13.
Tyre in the race is Tom Stevens.
Yeah, Tom Stevens will be starting on the hard tyre. He's currently, P5, but he's obviously got Q3 to go. And I'm pretty sure that we'll see all the drivers in that queue on the softs. Dylan Platt equally in the Alfa Romeo. He was on the medium, so he'll be starting the race on the mediums as well. So this is going to be very interesting. All to play for now for the top 10 shootout.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the P1 time is going to be, but I'm expecting it to be 1:20.2.
I have a sneaking suspicion, and indeed all the drivers are. I think we're going to see a 1:19, Nicky. I really think we're going to see a 1:19. And now this is a little game I like to play with Adrian, and this is going to be totally blind, Nicky. But who are you going to call for pole? I'll let you have first shout.
Who am I going to get shot for pole? I think Callum White is going to do it.
Callum White. Okay, that's an interesting one. I'm actually going to go with, some might say the obvious, but I was actually going to go with Callum White because I thought you were going to go with Tom Stevens. But I'm going to go with Tom Stevens, his teammate in the Mercedes. So we're currently on board with Daniel Burt in the Haas, first driver out on his outlap. He's been in there, he's got through to the top 10 shootout, but I suspect he's probably going to be towards the sort of, I don't know, row 4, row 5, but we'll see how he does. Obviously, this is the queue where it makes all the difference and anything can happen. And in my experience, it normally does, I've got to say. I don't know what you think there, Nicky, but...
We got Dylan Platt disqualified.
Oh dear.
Parking in a dangerous position. I did see him leave the session, so I think he might have lagged out.
So Dylan Platt, possibly with technical issues, gets a disqualification. He will be starting the race, but he will be starting in P10. So Daniel Burt.
It's very unfortunate when that happens.
Starting his fast lap. Well, if anyone knows about misfortune, Nicky, it's got to be you. And you can guarantee that I will make our viewers aware when we get to one track in particular. I wonder if you know which track I'm talking about, Nicky.
Hungary?
Oh, yes, I think it is.
Yeah, I might have hit the wall that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, that was quite amazing. For those of you that haven't watched it, I would recommend that you have a look at the Hungary race for season 4. So season 4, yes. Hungary, and you will see Nicky performing a rather interesting pit entry during the race, which actually takes him out of the race. Through no fault of his own, I must add. No fault of his own at all.
No, I really couldn't do anything. That wall was glitched into the track. So
and there it stayed for the remainder of the race as well, actually, which was even more surprising. So, Daniel Burt coming round now. It's not looking too shabby at all. He's hit 117 on the exit of 16. It's going to be round about the 122, I would suspect. Oh, yes, 122.7. So, Daniel Burt obviously assumes provisional pole at this moment in time. Let's have a look. And we're on board with Phil Harris in the Williams. Round 11, 12. And in the meantime, look at that. Look at that. Luke Slade set to 121.1. Tom Stevens set to 120.8. Matt Goodyear in a Ferrari, 121.6.
Thomas Cook coming up over the line.
Thomas Cook.
121.4.
121.4.
We've got Phil Harris coming up.
Yeah,
he's had a bad lap.
He has had a bad lap already, there. So. Not a good one at all, so he's going to go back again. Gary McKenny coming over the line, 122.2. Callum White on his out lap at this moment in time. As is Adrian Rich. Adrian just coming round, so let's go on board with Adrian for his fast lap. Round one.
Phil Harris doing a 26.6 in the first sector, so he's going to be top 4-ish with that first sector.
Adrian Rich coming round 4 now. Into 6, 7. Winding up round turn 8. Oh, has he quit out of it? Yeah, he has.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, he's quit out of that.
Phil Harris crossing the line in a few seconds.
So Phil Harris getting ready to come across the line in that Rocket Williams. Oh, very good in there, 120.9. So only 1/10 off Tom Stevens with that 120.8. That's a great run there from Phil Harris, isn't it?
It is, and especially because he ran out of fuel like 20 yards in front of the line, so that would have been an even faster lap.
So he could possibly have beaten Tom Stevens, but unfortunately he slightly underfueled. But a good run from him, and that puts him in that row 1 P2 position at this moment in time, alongside Tom Stevens. So that's certainly a very good run, and that's got to remember. I think actually Phil set his previous Q. I think it was on the soft tyre, so he will, if these positions are maintained, which they may be, but we've still got 5 minutes remaining of this session.
Tom Stevens just said a 120.3.
120.3, so he's better that time by another half a second, 5/10. He was on a 120.8, so he's taken another half a second out of that. He's only got 3/10, well 4/10 before he gets into the 119s. Nicky.
Yeah, we got Luke Slade on his outlap at the moment. Yeah, that time is really blinding, really is.
Yeah, the drivers in the pits now, probably getting a fresh set of boots on, and they'll all be coming out. And this is where you've got to be careful, because they're all likely to come out very close to one another, which isn't really what you want, because you can get affected, obviously, by the air or the air disturbance off the car in front. So you don't want to be too close behind.
No, if you're too close, you get understeer because of the dirty air from the guy in front of you. So you don't want that.
No, definitely not. So, Luke Slade in the McLaren, coming round now for his fast lap. Let's go on board. He's currently sitting in P3 on a 121.1. He needs to better that, but if he's going to better it, he needs to take out, well, realistically, he needs to be taking at least 9/10 to a second to try and get on that front row. What do you think his chances are, Nicky?
Yeah, that's going to be a difficult task.
It's certainly not an easy one, but he's looking good on the exit of 5. Down into 6, 7. Currently, I think about 7 thousandths faster than his previous best. Winding up round 10.
Actually.
Coming down now to 12, and he's 1/10. He's a 10th faster. Sector 2. He needs to try and get a couple of tenths out of this final sector if he possibly can. Round 15 now, good exit out of 15. Twitchy into 16, but looking good. And this is looking a very good time indeed. Oh, it's a 120.7. That's 7, and that puts him into P2. So he gets ahead of Phil Harris now, pushes him back into row 2, P3. And Phil Harris still in the pits. Let's go with Matt Goodyear. He's
Matt
coming.
Goodyear's cancelled his lap.
He's cancelled his lap. He's just coming round 13. Daniel Burt now out of 4, coming into 5 in the Haas. What can this Haas driver do? Into 6, 7. 2 tenths. Let's see what his sector 2 time is going to be. Winding up now, round turn 10, coming down towards that chicane of 11, 12, and he's 3.5 tenths faster than previous. This is looking a good lap here from the Haas driver.
He might
needs to take at least another couple of tenths out of this final sector though, if he's going to push Gary McKenny out of 6. And Gary McKenny on an outlap now as well. Good exit out of 15. Nice approach into 16.
Callum White come in for his fast lap.
Daniel Burt coming down to the line now, and it's a 122.3. He does not better Gary McKenny's time. Leaves him in that row 4 P8 position at this moment in time. So Daniel Burt does not better his position, betters his time, but not his position. Adrian Rich, oh, sorry, bit of a... Adrian Rich now, coming round.
We got the 2.
Oh, we've got a yellow flag in sector 3. Yellow flag
P1,
in sector 3. Adrian just coming round there now. Yeah. Oh, we've got green lights, but red light. It's got to be on the final 15, 16 turn, I suspect. And it's
Maybe
clear.
someone driving slow.
It is, yeah, someone driving slow. Yeah, you're right, yeah. So Adrian Rich now coming out. What can he do? It's going to be a 122. 122.2 puts him up into P7. Pushes Gary McKenny down into P8 and Daniel Burt down into P9. So Adrian Rich in the Red Bull takes that row 4 P7 position from Gary McKenny and pushes McKenny and Burt down 1 each. Matt Goodyear in the Ferrari. He's P6 at this moment in time. Thomas Cook in the sister Red Bull to Adrian. He's P5. Phil Harris in the Williams, P4. Luke Slade is happy to drop out. He's happy with that row 2.
Phil Harris is still on the fast lap.
So Phil Harris is on a fast lap. Let's...
Oh, we got Thomas Cook spinning out of turn 12. He kept his car alive.
Yeah. Phil Harris coming round now, and this is looking a good time. This is looking a very good time, actually. This is looking a very... I think we could see a 120.
Just a 19.
Oh, yeah, 120.5. 120.5. But he split. He split. What a fantastic run. Phil Harris there has split the Mercedes drivers of Callum White and Tom Stevens. What a fantastic run there from Phil Harris. He'll be starting row 1 P2 alongside Tom Stevens, and this is what I was talking about, because I'm pretty sure Phil Harris set his Q2 time on a soft tyre. That being the case,
He did.
he's going to be alongside Tom Stevens, who's in a hard tyre. So one would expect Phil Harris to take the lead pretty well out of turn 1, 2, I would have thought. So this is going to be very,
and Callum White
very interesting.
Following them.
Oh dear. Callum White has gone into the back there, it looks like. But I don't know what's happened there. Was it Callum White or was it Phil Harris going into the back of Callum? Not too sure.
AI taking over.
Oh, it's the AI. Okay, yeah, so the AI takes over and it does sometimes crash out. That is very true indeed. So let's have a look now at the final results then for this Q3 session. So row 1, P1 will be Tom Stevens in the Mercedes. Alongside him will be Phil Harris in the Williams in P2. Row 2, P3, Callum White in the Mercedes. Alongside him will be Luke in the McLaren. Then we have row 3, P5, Thomas Cook in the Red Bull. Alongside him will be Matt Goodyear in a Ferrari in P6. Row 4, P7, Gary McKenny in the McLaren. And then alongside him in P8 will be Adrian Rich. And then finally, row 5 in the Haas, Daniel Burt. And alongside him, who's going to be alongside him? Oh, hang on, I've just got kicked out of the game.
Dylan Platt. Did you?
I literally just got kicked out of the game. So let's quickly run
So did I.
promos. In fact, I've been kicked out of my Xbox by the looks of it.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to F1.
My Xbox is having hissing fits. Yeah, I've just restarted the game. Yeah, it's kicked me out and restarted the game. So we will be running some promo videos while we get that sorted out. Watch those. We'll be back with you very shortly indeed.
Go once more. Charles Leclerc down the main straight leads the Austrian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen behind him, separated by a few car lengths. There are 3 laps to go. Leclerc knows what's coming towards turn 3. Is he going to go inside or outside? Which way is Verstappen going to go here? DRS wide open, gaining on the Ferrari. Switches early, Verstappen late braking. Leclerc this time might just have to give way as he goes off the track. And when he comes back on, Max Verstappen has just sent Holland into raptures. He leads the Austrian Grand Prix. What a battle this has been.
Are coming on, and we are go for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Baz the pulls away. John will stay John. Hangs on, moves up there. Hangs on there. Dan Yarborough moves up to 5th place. Welcome to F1 tonight. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to F1 tonight. Here we are at the season finale, and we are here at Abu Dhabi, the fair shores of the Middle East here in the United Arab Emirates. This is an evening, nighttime race to close the season, and what a season it has been. We are ready, and we're off for the start of this Abu Dhabi F1 Season 4 finale Grand Prix. And already, look at that, the Haas already moving up, really challenging that Basta Green, Boyd Williamson there. place. Drawing room very much challenging. You can see in the background there Marco Cullen as well with the Sauber, having a few issues there, not too sure what's happened. Everybody, and welcome to F1 tonight.
Once more, Charles Leclerc down the main straight, leads the Austrian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen behind him, separated by a few car lengths. There are 3 laps to go. Leclerc knows what's coming towards turn 3. Is he going to go inside or outside? Which way is Verstappen going to go here? DRS wide open, gaining on the Ferrari, switches early. Verstappen late braking. Leclerc this time might just have to give way as he goes off the track, and when he comes back on, Max Verstappen has just sent Holland into raptures. He leads the Austrian Grand Prix. What a battle this has been.
Are coming on, and we are go for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Baz the Prix pulls away. John Douglas stays on. Hansen moves up there. Hansen and Danny Harder moves up to 10th place. Welcome to F1 tonight. Good evening everybody, and welcome to F1 tonight. Here we are at the season finale, and we are here at Abu Dhabi in a fair shore shores of the Middle East here in the United Arab Emirates. This is an evening, nighttime race to close the season, and what a season it has been. We are ready and we're off for the start of this Abu Dhabi F1 Season 4 finale Grand Prix. And already, look at that, the Haas already moving up, really challenging that Basta Green, Boyd Williamson there, pulling away very convincingly, and Guido Airshine has dropped back. Look at this, he's dropped back already to 5th place. Boyd Williamson very much challenging, you can see in the background there, Marco pulling as well with the Sauber, having a few issues there, not too sure what's happened. Everybody, and welcome to F1 Tonight.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to this F1 Tonight. F1 GP here for Australia, Season 1, Race 1. Unfortunately, we have a little bit of a technical glitch there at the end of Q3, but all is resolved. So the drivers now getting ready, and they'll be starting their processional lap shortly. Going back to what we were saying, Nikki, it's obviously going to be very interesting indeed on that front row. We've got Thomas, dearie me, get that right. Tom Stevens in the Mercedes. He's going to be starting on those hard tyres, and we've got Phil Harris on the soft tyres. He should,
yes,
he should, get ahead of him on paper, certainly. On that exit of turn 2, I would have thought, if he doesn't, lead the way into turn 1, that is.
I would expect him to lead the way into turn 1, especially with the traction on the soft tyres, which is that much more than on the hard tyres. So I would expect Tom to drop back to about P4, P5 in the opening lap.
Yeah.
I would expect.
Well, we never know, because, expect the unexpected, as we have already seen to a certain degree already, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this actually pans out.
We actually got an extra driver joined as well, which wasn't able to join the previous session, but due to this technical issue, he is in. There's Josh Giggles.
Oh, right. Excellent. So we've got Josh.
Second Haas driver.
Yeah, Josh Diggles, indeed, the second Haas driver. So he wasn't able to make the qualifying session, but he has been able to join for the main race. So he'll be starting at the back of the grid. So he will be starting in P14 at the back of the grid. Obviously, free choice of tyre for him. What would you go for? I've got to say, if that was me, I'd be inclined to go for that hard tyre.
I would go medium, to be honest, and then see where you're at the first stint. See what you can do. See what the pace is.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it is a difficult shout. I mean, the problem with the hard tyre, especially on a track like this, unless of course you're Tom Stevens or Callum White, you can lose a lot of time, and it's trying to weigh up the advantage that you get, and the advantage really, I suppose, comes within that pit stop window, because that's where the strategy comes in. Because that pit stop window here in Australia, I think, if I remember correctly, is around about 21 seconds.
Yeah,
pretty sure it is, because it's a very quick exit.
Seconds.
Well, I say 24 seconds. That's the window you're looking for. So you want to make sure that you can sort of be within that window to get the advantage. Because if you're going onto the hard tyre, you're going to do
a gap.
Yeah, you have to have that gap. Yeah. So be interesting to see what option Josh goes for the start of this race. The driver's now readying up, so the processional lap will be underway. We'll run through the drivers during the processional lap. So Tom Stevens, and let's shout them out effectively. So Tom Stevens, he's starting P1. Alongside him will be Phil Harris in P2. Row 2, P3. Well, that's the second Mercedes of Callum White. Alongside him will be Luke Slade in the McLaren in P4. Oh, what's going on here? I've lost my controller. There we go, we're back again. Thank God for that. Don't know what happened there. So, yeah, so we've got P4, and as I said, that's Luke Slade there in the McLaren. Then we have P5, that's Thomas Cook in the Red Bull. Then we have P6, and that's Matt Goodyear in the Ferrari. P7, that's Gary McKenny, and Gary in the McLaren. He'll be starting in P7. Then we have Adrian Rich in the Red Bull. He's P8. Then we have Daniel Burt in the Haas, P9. P10 is Dylan Platt in the Alfa Romeo.
Who unfortunately disqualified himself in the qualifying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a little bit unfortunate. Tony Foster in the Ferrari is starting P11. Sean Gregory, as we said, in the Toro Rosso, starting P12. Ryan Lee in the second Alfa Romeo, he's starting P13. And Josh Diggles, we haven't seen yet in the Haas, he'll be starting in P14. The drivers now coming onto the grid. Lights, and they're off for the start of this F1 tonight. Season opening Grand Prix, Season 1, Race 1. Tom Stevens and Callum White, and Tom Stevens and Callum White both get ahead. Well, Callum White gets a hold of Phil Harris. Tom Stevens stays ahead of him. Both Mercedes leading the way out of 2, down to 3. Phil Harris is in 3. Luke Slater is in 4. And Thomas Cook, oh, and a mistake there from Tom Stevens. So he was coming round 3. Oh, and look at that, another one. He's going into 5. He's fighting with his teammate there, Callum White. Look at this, wheel-to-wheel action as they come down now to turn 6, 7. and real pressure. No team orders here between these guys. Callum White takes the lead from Tom Stevens as they're coming down to 9 now. Tom going to see if he can get ahead of him, but he can't. His teammate Callum White is on the red softwall tyres, but Phil Harris is very close in at the moment, behind Tom Stevens as well. But Tom did well there to stay ahead, but I think that was a lot to do with the fact that his teammate Callum White was actually overtaking Phil Harris, and that probably put him off somewhat.
Yeah, and Phil Harris actually overtaking Tom Stevens right now, so he is dropping back on those hard tyres.
Yeah,
but
indeed.
His tyres will last a lot longer than the one in P1 and P2 at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. But what a great start. What a great start there from Josh Diggles, starting at the back of the grid, row 14, comes round to start his second lap, and he's up in P5. What a fantastic run from him. 9 places in one lap.
Is.
Oh, he goes off the track there, around 2, well, into 1, out of 1 into 2. But great run for him there.
Josh and Ryan both had a blast of a start. Josh has gained 9 positions and Ryan Lee gained 7 positions.
Yeah, Ryan Lee, as you said, gained 7 positions there, and Josh Diggles has actually gained 9 positions. So fantastic job there from both those drivers. Well, let's quickly go up front and see what's happening. Callum White leads the way. He's just under a second behind him is Phil Harris in that Rocket Williams. Tom Stevens is in P3, but he's under pressure at the moment from Luke Slade in that McLaren. He's also on the soft tyres, and you can see now when the guys are this close behind, you really do get affected when you go into your braking areas with the dirty air ahead of you, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Your car actually becomes lighter, and then you don't really have to downforce to brake as late as you normally would if you're in clean air. So watch him on the exit here of 16. He hasn't got DRS yet. DRS will not be activated until the following lap, so it's really important for Luke Slade to stay as close behind Tom Stevens as he possibly can, because he's going to want that DRS to get past that Mercedes ahead of him, isn't he? Oh yeah. Yeah, just keep calm, keep following him, and as soon as you can with DRS, just pass him.
Now, for those
just
of you,
easy pass.
For those of you unfamiliar with DRS, DRS is a system which activates a wing, or rather drops a wing on the rear wing of the car and allows for better airflow, and therefore increases your speed. And it can increase your speed by I think it's about 8 or 10 kilometers plus, so it is quite a lot
depending on the track. Yeah,
depending upon the track, it is a lot. When you're watching these guys, it is amazing. You'll see the DRS come into play. Oh, look at that, Callum! Yes, Luke Slade gets past Tom Stevens, because Tom Stevens made a mistake coming out of 11, 12, went on to the rough, and Luke Slade gets ahead, goes up to P3. Tom Stevens drops down to P4, but remember, he is on a harder compound tyre. You might ask what that means. Well, I'll tell you what it means. It means, effectively, that he will be able to come in later than the cars ahead of him. So he'll be able to stay out on track longer, and that's where the strategy comes in. So DRS, we've explained.
We've got a battle for 8 from P5 to P8.
Gary McKenny
next to Gary.
Yeah, Gary McKenny gets ahead of Ryan Lee there on that DRS down the start-finish straight. So Gary McKenny moves up to P7.
Next to
Thomas Cook is now challenging Josh Diggles. Josh Diggles just got ahead of him, so Josh again got ahead of him, but now Thomas Cook wants to, well, I say wants to, he definitely wants to get that place back. Oh, nearly slips it out of 7. Good control there, but Josh Diggles is really pulling away from him now, isn't he? Yeah, he's already out of DRS.
Yeah.
So Josh Diggles absolutely charging through this field. 9 places. Remember, started in...
Thomas Cook is coming back to Josh.
He is. He's got the DRS out of 12, down into 13. Oh, brave move there from Thomas Cook. Goes right on the rough side. He's going to try again, I'm sure, into 15, 16. And look at that, Gary McKenny now on the gearbox of Josh Diggles, as is Ryan Lee on the gearbox of Gary McKenny. So this is going to be very interesting indeed. They've all got DRS, apart from Josh Diggles. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Gary McKenny is right on the gearbox of Thomas Cook, out of 2. Josh Diggles, oh, take the line there. Tom trying to cut that corner as much as he can. Late braking. Stays on the tail of Josh Diggles ahead of him. Gary McKenny keeping a safe distance, just in case those two come together. And then you've got Ryan Lee there. He's only 7/10 behind Gary McKenny, so we can see this atypical midfield battle going on here for P5, 6 and 7.
Another lead change soon. Phil Harris really on the back of Callum White now.
Yeah, he is indeed. He's 2/10. They're coming out of the final sector. Round 14 now.
Thomas Cook nearly losing out of 12, so Gary up. Ryan Lee DNF'd.
Ryan Lee is DNF'd. He's gone off, and that's in the 3rd sector. They were very close behind each other. Phil Harris looking to try and make a move on Callum White now, down into 1. But even with that DRS, couldn't quite manage it. Now, the other thing we were talking about is obviously that can help you on here is the ERS system, Nicky, isn't it?
Yeah, ERS is basically, sort of nitro. So it's possibly the best way to explain it. Get a certain amount of each lap replenish. You have to replenish it as well. So I think it gives you an extra 160 horsepower.
It does, yeah. It's around about 100. Yeah, it's around about 160 horsepower. What it basically is, as Nicky says, it is a bit like a nitrous injection. It's not a fuel situation. It's actually electronic. So it's the electronic part of the engine that effectively kicks in and gives you an extra 160 horsepower. But you have to build up the power on that. It's like a battery, so you have to recharge it. You cannot use it consistently all the time. So you have to dial it down, you have to play around with it, and you have to give it the opportunity to charge up before you can use it. But that ERS makes a difference, and that's probably what we saw Callum White using out of that DRS. Phil Harris closing down, had the DRS, but Callum White dialed up the ERS so that he could just stay ahead of Phil Harris. But Phil Harris is still close behind, so I'm pretty sure that Callum's going to be coming under a lot more pressure in probably about another couple of 3 laps, because he cannot maintain that ERS use. But looking at that, it's not looking too bad. He's about half full at the moment, isn't he?
Callum's ERS is actually, he's got more ERS than Phil does.
Oh, Phil Harris, yes, yeah. ERS management, very, very important.
Position change,
during the course of the race.
Right next to each other.
Thomas Cook has overtaken Josh Diggles, but now Josh Diggles gets back ahead of him as they come round turn 3. And again, Gary McKenny still in the mix there. Gary McKenny in the McLaren, still very, very much in the mix. And you can see here, let's go on board with Thomas Cook on Josh Diggles. And he's really closing him down. He's 6/10 off the back of him at this moment in time. Gary McKenny, though, only 2/10, nearly 3/10 off the back of Thomas Cook. So this midfield battle is looking very short. But Sean Gregory's coming up as well. And Sean Gregory just under a second behind Gary McKenny at this moment in time. So definite midfield battle going on here. Thomas Cook looking to make the move on Josh Diggles. Out of 12 into 13. Josh holding his line. Thomas Cook taking that outside line as he did previously. Really maintaining it, but he's got the advantage on that line into 15. Got to hold it out of 16. But these guys really battling here, and Thomas Cook takes the lead. But Josh Diggles will have DRS, but Gary McKenny has also got DRS on Josh Diggles. He's looking to make the move before they get down to one. Can't quite get a look in there. Discretion, the better part of Valor, pulls in behind the Haas. He's going again, out of 2, down to 3, and he's got the line, but the Haas there, maintaining the line on that apex, holding him back, defending his line, and you can see Sean Gregory there in the background, just trying to see if he can figure out a way through these 2 guys ahead of him. But Gary McKenny definitely laying down the pressure here on Josh Diggles in the Haas. This is really intense here, great midfield battle.
At the back of them now as well. And Sean is actually on the medium tyre and Gary in front of him is on soft tyres.
Now, we're on lap 8 of 58. Next question really is how deep can they go on these soft tyres? I would expect, because obviously a number of them have done their qualification on them as well, I would think we're probably going to see guys coming in round about lap 12, between 12 and 15, I would have thought.
Yeah, especially the soft runners.
Look at that, Gary McKenny almost going into the back of Josh Diggles ahead of him. They're coming out at 16 now. He will have the DRS, but equally, Sean Gregory will have DRS on him as well. Josh defending, trying to break the toe, but Gary McKenny easily through there. Josh Diggles slots in behind him into P7. So Gary McKenny moves up P6, Josh Diggles in 7. But look at this challenge now. Look at this challenge. Oh my goodness me. Sean Gregory trying to take the turn round 3 right on the gearbox of Josh Diggles ahead of him as they coming round 5. Oh, this is so close. Let's quickly go on board. Not anything in it at all. 6 tenths now off the back. And you can see Adrian Rich in the background there. He's 2.5 seconds behind Sean Gregory at this moment in time. Josh Diggles.
Phil Harris is not all over the back of Callum White. 2 tenths separating them.
And they're coming out of 16 now. Now,
Yellow.
Is this Phil Harris's opportunity to take that P1 position?
DNF. Adrian Rich DNF'd as well.
Oh, Adrian Rich has DNF'd. Let's see if we can see what that is. And that may have been on the exit of 12. We're on board with Dylan Platt as he comes round. 11 and 12 indeed. Yellow flags being waved indeed. You see on the right-hand side.
Yes.
Yeah, Adrian Rich, and that was on the exit of 12. Not unexpected. That's the, I suppose, if anywhere you're going to DNF or crash out, that's the place where it's likely to happen, isn't it, Nicky?
Yeah, it is. It's like I said in the qualifier as well. You got a bump and a ditch, and with these tyres having a maximum fuel load, it's really difficult to keep them in the right track.
So we're watching the fight now for that P1 position between Callum White and Phil Harris, and Phil really just
Sean
staying
Gregory all
on the
over
back there.
Josh.
But Luke Slade is starting to catch up in the McLaren. He's 7 seconds behind him. Then we have Tom Stevens. He's another, well, nearly 2 seconds behind Luke Slade. But that's not looking too bad. I mean, he's only, what, about 10 seconds off the lead. Callum White there. This is looking, I've got to say, pretty good for Tom Stevens at this moment in time.
I think Tom's tyres are going to start coming alive now compared to the soft runners. More grip still on him, and the soft tyre is actually going to become slower now, quite quickly.
I think you could be right there, because obviously that hard
Phil
tyre...
Harris going for Callum now, and the slipstream DRS as well, he's going for it.
Yep.
Nearly touched.
But look at that. Callum White defends beautifully round 3 into 4. And Phil Harris was trying to take a little peek there into turn 3 after that DRS boost out of 2. But doesn't quite make it. But I've got to say, these guys are really pushing. And surely Phil Harris's tyres are taking some severe punishment. I mean, I would suspect he's probably going to try and do the undercut, actually, on Callum White.
I would see that happening. Maybe if he gets fast, he goes into the pits. to get that little bit of an advantage. But I think it's a bit too early to go in for a new set of tyres. We'll see them go on for another 3-4 laps, maybe more.
Yeah, it could well be. So Phil Harris coming round now. So Daniel Burt, first man in off the hard tyres, off the soft tyres, going on to the hards.
Actually being lapped as well now. He's going to get blue flags.
So the two fighting ahead of there. And Luke Slade still in that P3 position, looking pretty solid. He's got Tom Stevens, though, starting to close down on him. So that gap was around about 1.8. It's now 1.2. So 1.2. I think, like he said, Tom Stevens...
Oh, we got Sean Gregory, position change with Sean Gregory.
Yeah, Sean Gregory takes P7 off Josh Diggles. So Sean Gregory and Toro Rosso gets ahead of Josh Diggles, and I suspect Josh Diggles' tyres, because he's really pushed them hard, I suspect they're on their way out, actually, which is probably why it's Sean Gregory's got past him there.
The same thing between Luke Slade and Tom Stevens.
Yeah, and you can see Tom Stevens is now 1.1 seconds off the back of Luke Slade ahead of him, so he is really closing down the gap.
Out of slipstream.
Coming round 13 into 14 now, and they are nose to tail. You couldn't get a cigarette paper between these two at the moment.
Oh, he outbraked himself. Callum White outbraked himself.
And they're staying out. Yeah, Callum White now didn't have a good turn 16, and this is a great opportunity now for Phil Harris. Phil Harris side by side with Callum White as they come down to turn 1. And he takes the lead. It's, oh my goodness, he goes wide. He goes wide there. Oh, but he maintains it. No, he doesn't. Sorry, Callum White gets ahead of him. Do apologise. Yeah, Callum White come back, but look at this. Phil Harris into 3, takes the place back again. Oh, this is intense racing here as they come round turn 5, and Callum White is not going to be happy with that. But a fantastic move, great respect between the two drivers, no contact, and Phil Harris eventually gets ahead of Callum White, but now surely is the time for Phil Harris to go for that undercut, isn't it? I mean, I can see both these guys coming in the pits at the same time.
Maybe, but both the ERS are the same, the tyres the same degradation. Ooh. Callum White
really loses it out of 12 there, and he's dropped right back now. 1.3 seconds now behind Phil Harris. He's definitely going to come in. Now is the time. If Callum White was unsure when he was going to come in, surely now is the time to do it.
Yeah, I would seriously advise
that.
No,
and he's staying out. They're both staying out. Well, this is where strategy comes into play. These guys are used to doing 50% races and maybe pushing that little bit more. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Nicky, but if that was me, I would have been into those pits and straight on to either medium or a hard. Probably a medium, actually.
Yeah, I would say medium, then soft again. I think that's going to be the fastest option. If they've done 14 laps on these softs already, you can easily do 25 on the medium, and then another 16 or so.
I would have thought so. I mean, Tom Stevens, that gap has opened up again to Luke Slade in the McLaren, so I think maybe Luke's dialed it up, aware that Tom was closing down on him. But Tom is, still 2.8, still only 10 seconds off the leader, so he's still looking very, very strong for, definitely a podium finish, if not first place at this moment in time. It's early doors. It's lap 14 of 58. So we're about a third of the way through this race now. This is F1 Tonight UK. Season 1, race 1 here at Albert Park, and what a race it has been. We've seen some fantastic fighting between P1 and P2, Phil Harris and Callum White. We've seen some great midfield action with Gary McKenny, Sean Gregory, Thomas Cook, Josh Diggles, all those guys really fighting it out. And we've only had one pit stop so far, and that's Daniel Burt. He's bringing up the rear in the Haas, and he's gone onto the hard tyres, but we're expecting these guys to come in fairly soon. And I've got to say, they are stretching these tyres out, certainly the soft runners, far more than I expected.
Yeah, same. I done this race Thursday, and I didn't even make it to lap 10, so I'm not 100% sure how long the tyres should be able to last, but I would suspect people coming in soon.
Well, I certainly would expect them to coming in very soon. I can't see them going into the 20s on those soft wall tyres, not with the sort of punishment they're giving them.
No.
So Callum White now.
Callum was actually within DRS range again.
He is. He's back up to under a second behind Phil
Tom
Harris.
Stevens 8 tenths behind Luke Slade.
And look at this, Tom Stevens is really close down to Luke Slade now. He's within that second. Callum White also within. Let's watch him on the exit. 16, I don't think he's got enough space there. Too big a gap to close down. Tom Stevens equally.
Sean Gregory and Gary again. All over the back of him.
Yeah, Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso. All over the back of the McLaren there of McKenny. And he's going to have an opportunity to have a charge up. He's 4 tenths away. I think this is a good opportunity here for the Toro Rosso driver. And you could see Gary McKenny trying to break the toe, but he doesn't, maintains his line. And he's got the second DRS now out of 2. Is he going to challenge now? Sean Gregory 3, looks like he is. He's taking the inside line down into 3. McKenny's going to have to defend that line. Oh, and a nice move there by Sean Gregory. Takes that place, moves up to 6. Gary McKenny for McLaren drops to 7.
We've got Tom
Stevens now closing right on the back of the other McLaren of Luke Slade as it come into 11-12. Tricky set of corners here. He's got the DRS. Is he going to be able to take advantage of it? Not quite. But he is very tight in. And remember, Tom Stevens on the hard compound tyre. Luke Slade on the soft compound tyre. So the two opposite ends of the tyres, red being soft, white being hard, yellow being medium. But look at that, he's got him now. Is he going to be able to make it into turn 1? No. Again, just staying off safely off there. He's got the second DRS now down to turn 3. Is he going to look to move? Yes, he's looking to make a move. On the inside. Takes the place. Tom Stevens takes the place from Luke Slade, moves up into P3, and that's a really important move there, isn't it?
It is. We actually got Phil Harris all over the back of Callum White again.
Phil Harris indeed, as they're coming around 6-7. All over the back, and in the meantime we've been joined by Adrian Rich in the Red Bull, who, if you recall, went out in that Sector 3 out of turn 12. Adrian, how you feeling?
I've had better days. But you know, I'm still, you know, despite that, I'm still proud to have been in this race and part of this league. I've been waiting a long time for this to all kick off, and it has. And had a little hiccup earlier on with the league. But
sorry, I've got to say here, but Callum White into the pits. Phil Harris takes first place, and now this is really important. Phil's got to really lay down a very strong lap here now. Callum White into the pits. Tom Stevens takes second place, so let's keep an eye on that. But yeah, I mean, Adrian, yeah, absolutely, I couldn't agree more. We've been getting ready for this evening for quite some time, and it's been frenzied activity over the past few days, certainly from our end. I don't think the drivers necessarily appreciate that, but sometimes, but I will make them aware of it. I've got to say, though, I don't know how much of the race you've been watching since your DNF, but it is an amazing race. I mean, some real close driving here with Phil Harris and obviously Callum White, who were battling for that first and second place, but also some great midfield battles as well with Sean Gregory, Gary McKenny, Thomas Cook, all those guys, Josh Diggles. I mean, really amazing.
Yeah, Josh was on fire the first few laps. They got up from last to P5 in about 2 or 3 laps. I'm going to cut it a little bit short here because I believe we're doing a lap silence, aren't we? Lap 19.
We are indeed. We're coming up to lap 19. I mentioned it earlier. We're coming up to lap 19 now, so once Phil Harris crosses the line, we will go silent as a mark of respect to Anton Hubert, the F2 driver who died at Spa this weekend. And indeed, RIP, rest in peace to Antoine Hubert, and our deepest condolences to his family and friends. A great loss to the race community. So we're back now, lap 20. Tom Stevens leads this race on those hard compound tyres. Second place is Callum White. Yeah, indeed, as predicted, 11 and a half seconds behind him, but more importantly, he has got out and he is ahead of Phil Harris. So Phil Harris has gone onto the medium tyres, Callum White onto the soft tyres. Now, that would say that, Thomas Cook picking up a 3-second time penalty there, but this is looking good for Phil Harris, isn't it? He's on the medium tyres. It's important, though, that he stays as close as he can to Callum White.
Yeah, because in the later stages of this race, Callum still has to pick for his medium tyres because you have to use 2 different compounds in the race. So I would expect Callum to go to mediums and then Phil Harris to go to softs. So at the end of the race, it's still going to be a very interesting battle.
Yeah, definitely. It's still very interesting. We've not even reached the halfway mark yet. We're on lap 20 of 58. This is F1 Tonight UK Season 1, Race 1 here at Albert Park. And what a race it has been so far. Only 21 laps of 58. Now this is when some of these drivers, if not all of them I would suspect, are going to start to feel the pressure. Obviously, a lot of these guys used to doing 50% races. 28 laps, 29 laps, I think, for Australia. Might even be 30, actually. I'm not too sure. I don't know if Adrian's still in, if he can clarify that. But
yeah, 29 laps.
29 laps. So, I mean, these guys are at the point where they would normally be looking to be at the end of the race. and suddenly they're going to realise that actually they're only halfway through. How do you think they're going to feel about that?
Yeah, this is the moment where it's sort of, I wouldn't say separates the men from the boys, but it's it's gonna just force them to show their cards a little bit in terms of how much stamina the drivers have actually got. As I say, many of them used to do 50%. There's a couple there that do 100%. And
Yeah,
they
Phil
may
Harris
start
won,
to gain
who
an
we're on board
advantage.
with now. So Phil Harris is accustomed to 100% races. So, and I think that's shown to a certain degree in his selection of tyre there and going on to the mediums. He did obviously see that Callum White went on to the softs, so I think that's probably what he was looking to do, because it wasn't much point in him going on to the softs as well, was there?
No, you're quite right. You needed to do a different strategy. So obviously, you're never going to do this. Never going to really pass the person ahead of you if you're both doing exactly the same thing. But
Callum's actually reeling in his teammate.
Yeah, Callum is very much closing down now on Tom Stevens, but that is to be expected. Now, the next question is how deep is Tom going to go? And in that instance, how long is it going to take Callum to actually catch him?
Yeah, but I think even more important, the battle between Tom and Luke, first and fourth at the moment. Luke is only 21.9 seconds behind Tom Stevens. So at this moment in time, if Tom decides to go for a pit stop, Luke will pass Tom for that.
That could cause him problems.
Yeah, that could definitely cause him problems. So Luke Slade at the moment in P4, and well spotted there, Nicky. That could be problematic, certainly for Tom Stevens. But I'm just wondering how deep he's going to go. I mean, I would suspect that on those hard compound tyres, he's going to be looking to go probably. I think he's aiming to go to the mid-30s, and on that basis, the safe choice of tyre for his second tyre would be a medium tyre, but he could get into that soft window, couldn't he? I mean, we've seen 17 laps on the opening of this race on those soft compound tyres. Towards the end of the race, I mean, if he can go to 35, I mean, he could potentially do 13 laps, let's say, on those soft tyres with a lighter fuel load, etc., couldn't he?
Eddie, I've actually run tests. I've actually run tests with all three of these tyres until destruction, and no, not that it was worth very much to me now, but the hard tyre will do about 45-46 laps before it sort of reaches the sort of 80% mark. In fact, one of the real life strategies, I think Lance Stroll or Hulkenberg even, he did softs for 15 laps and then hards until the end, which was 45 laps. So you can take them that far. So
it's every opportunity here then in that case for Tom Stevens to get into that soft window territory to close the race.
Yeah, I think that's his target, hards onto the softs.
And on that basis, when would he change? He'd have to be changing round about sort of the early 40s to play it safe, really, wouldn't he?
Well, the soft tyre will do depending on how hard you drive it, it'll do anywhere between 13 and 23 laps. So yeah, somewhere in that window, about sort of 20 lap window.
We just had Thomas Cook coming in after 23 laps on the soft tyre.
So Thomas Cook opens up 23 laps on the soft tyre. Comes in, and that's on the opening of this race. So yeah, this is looking very good, I've got to say, at this moment in that instance for Tom Stevens. But as you rightly said, Callum White is closing down. It was 8 seconds, it's now under 7 seconds. On that basis, he's going to be on the back of his teammate round about lap 30, I suspect, lap 30-31.
Yeah, maybe even earlier already.
Well, it could well be. Callum White at this moment in time just under 7 seconds behind his teammate, and that's going to be the challenge certainly for Tom Stevens. We saw no love lost certainly on the opening of this race, definitely no team orders in Mercedes. You can count on that, but as you said as well, we've got Luke Slade in that McLaren. The dark horse, so to speak, currently sitting in P4. He's on 5-lap-old soft tyres, and as you rightly pointed out, Nicky, he could also be a challenge to Tom as well, couldn't he?
Yeah, he's 20.4 seconds behind Tom right now. And if I'm not mistaken, the pit stop takes 24 seconds. So virtually, Luke is 4 seconds ahead of Tom.
And he's only going to get further ahead, isn't he? Bearing in mind he's on a tyre that's a second and a half a lap faster.
So he's the man to keep an eye on, Luke Slade. Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso. Let's just remind ourselves here of the position changes. So Tom Stevens obviously maintains that first place. Callum White's moved up 1 from 3. Phil Harris, who was in 2, down to 3. And Luke Slade maintains that 4th position. Sean Gregory, though, in that Toro Rosso, 7 places. So great run here from Sean Gregory. He's currently on the medium tyres. Then we have Dylan Platt. Great run from him as well. He's up 4 places from 10. Then we have Gary McKenny sitting in 7th, where he started at this moment in time in the McLaren. Josh Diggles, well, great runner as well from him. We saw, I mean, he did go up 9 places, I think, at the best. I think 10, actually, he might even have got to. Dropped back somewhat now. He's dropped that to P8. Just under 10 seconds behind Gary McKenny at this moment in time. He's also on the medium tyres. Then we have Thomas Cook. Not a great start from him, and he really has suffered and hasn't quite been able to come back. He's sitting in P9. Daniel Burt as well. He's lost 1 place, and he looks like he's going to be taken by Tony Foster, actually. Yeah, Tony Foster right on his tail as they're coming down towards turn 1. So Tony Foster there in the Ferrari, trying to challenge Daniel Burt, but Daniel stays ahead of him.
These two were my targets in this race. These two and actually Sean Gregory. I was trying to catch up to him. That's when I was putting pressure on myself when I spun it. Well,
but at least you spun it in the right place, Adrian. If ever it's going to happen, that's where it's going to happen. If you had to put a bet on which corner people are going to come off on, it's got to be on the exit of 12.
Yeah, the annoying thing for me is I've done 3 100% races in my practice sessions, and not once have I spun at that corner.
Well,
yeah, it's always different when you're on the race that counts.
And every race is different, I have to say. I mean, you can have a general idea what's going to happen. Dylan Platt picking up a 3-second time penalty, but Tony Foster in the Ferrari really laying down the pressure here on the Haas of Daniel Burt. And he's just looking for every opportunity he can. He keeps taking a little peek, but he's not going to take any undue risks, is he, Tony?
We've got Sean Gregory going into the pits.
Daniel Burt breaking the toe, goes to the right-hand side, lets the Ferrari through, and the Ferrari of Tony Foster goes through into a points position now in P10. Daniel Burt drops to 11. Thomas Cook in the Red Bull 9, and he's closing right in on Josh Diggles in P8 as well now. What can Thomas Cook do on the exit here on the start of lap 27? Josh Diggles maintaining his place there. You've got Sean Gregory coming out of the pits in the background there. He's got the second DRS now. This is where Tom really needs to take the bull by the horns. Like the pun there. As they come down to turn 3. Sorry, guys, you're a bit slow there. You're a bit slow there, guys.
It's just too much action. Too much action to pay attention to the brilliant pun.
Yeah, I know. Too. I've got to wait for a.
Looks Slade.
And Thomas Cook loses it on the exit of 7 and goes straight into the barrier. Both Red Bulls DNF out of this Australian Grand Prix. What a terrible, terrible tragedy there to happen. But that's racing. Well, Adrian,
don't rub it in there.
Adrian, what can I say?
Yeah, well, I was literally just about to say, Thomas is actually racing with a sprained thumb at the moment. It's quite badly swollen, and that's not going to do it any good, crashing into the wall like that.
No, definitely not. Let's hope he didn't
Red Bull
have his
Station.
thumb on the inside of the wheel.
No, that will be painful.
That would not be pleasant. And we're on board. Sean Gregory now closing down on Josh Diggles into turn 1. Oh, look at that! Slight contact there with the rear wheel of the Haas just ahead of him. Maintains it on track though. Good driving craft there from Sean Gregory not to put it into the barrier, I think.
Yeah. Did well to hang on to that. I think it was wheel to wheel, front right of Sean's Toro Rosso hit the back. Front left hit the back left of.
Back right. He hit the back right.
Of Diggles.
It was the back right.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was the back right. He just made contact with there. But Josh Diggles, I'm sure, in that Haas breathing a big old sigh of relief. He's now at least put 4 seconds between himself and Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso. But I feel that Sean Gregory will soon close that gap down. And indeed, Sean Gregory is on the soft tyres. Sorry?
Really reeling in Tom Stevens now. It's 18 seconds.
Yeah, Callum White,
Wow.
4 seconds now, just under 5 seconds off his teammate Tom Stevens. But we can see Luke Slade there in the McLaren. He's, as you say, definitely closing down that gap. Tom Stevens, he just picked up a 3-second time penalty there. Not what he was looking for, Tom. Not when we're looking at such a close race at this moment in time. You'll just see his teammate coming round the corner as he goes around 14. So closing it down, still
Tom
just
has
under
picked
5
up
seconds.
Quite a few penalties already.
How many penalties has Tom got?
Just while Nicky's doing that, I just wanted to say, just as we approach the halfway point of the race, I will be jumping out the pie. But before I go, just wanted to say thanks very much, Eddie, for the brilliant stream so far. Excellent commentary and great racing. And I know I was part of it. I'm proud to be part of it. But thank you to everyone else that was that sort of made F1 Tonight UK happen. So thank you very much, guys.
Well, seeing as we're being all lovey-dovey, Adrian, I've got to say you've performed a fantastic job with helping out everybody and getting things set up. And I've got to say, big round of applause to you as well, because you've done a great job yourself. So now that we've finished the mutual patting on the back, you can leave the party, Adrian. Bye-bye.
Love you too, Eddie. Bye.
Take care.
We've actually got 15 seconds worth of penalties for Tom Stevens.
Oh, my goodness me. Yeah, and this is where it really starts to come in now, because F1 Tonight race under strict race conditions. And those points can very rapidly accumulate, and they accumulate in the form of time against you. So for every penalty, it's 3 seconds. So every time you go off the racing line, it's a 3-second penalty. And Tom, unfortunately, has done 5 of those, which means he's got 15 seconds worth of penalties to be applied. So wherever he is, if he maintains his first place, he's going to have to finish at least 15 seconds of whoever is in second place in order to take the win. So this really is looking... well, he's looking good for a podium, but it's looking dangerous, or certainly dangerous, and unlikely at the moment for that pole, is it?
It is. It's really going to have to step on it in his second stint, because he's still on his first stint, believe it or not.
He is still on his first stint. Remember, he's on the hard tyres, 31 laps. We are expecting Tom to go probably, at least to lap 40, possibly a little bit more.
I just need to interrupt, Eddie.
Yep.
We've got Sean Gregory all over the back of Josh Diggles.
So Sean Gregory here. Yeah, indeed, as they're coming down to turn 1. Now. Josh trying to make the move, break the toe, can't do it. And Sean Gregory takes P7 from Josh Diggles. So Josh Diggles drops down to P8, Sean Gregory up to P7. And we've seen these guys battling it out throughout this race. I mean, there has really been some amazing close racing and overtaking in this midfield, hasn't there, Nicky?
Oh yeah, it really has been a race full of action. And I just noticed that Daniel Platt is still on his first stint as well on the medium tyres. 29 laps. 29
laps on those mediums. Now, surely they've got to be starting to get to the raggedy edge. And he's got, looks like Tony Foster behind him, looking to try and unlap himself.
He has pitted, but I think this was on lap 1 for a nose change.
Yeah. And he's definitely got Tony Foster on the back of him there. He's trying to unlap himself at this moment in time. Tony Foster down in P9. And I think the chances are he probably will. He is on those soft compound tyres, 12 old, whereas Dylan is on 30 lap old mediums. But he's staying out there. I guess, to be fair though, on the mediums, you probably can go that deep. If we're looking to go to sort of mid-40s potentially on the hard tyre, those mediums should go to sort of 30, mid-30s. So he's probably going to be coming in within the next couple of laps, I suspect.
Well, that would mean he will go to soft then. Because I doubt he's going to go to hard. So he's going to go to the soft tyre. That would mean Tom is going to go to the soft tyre as well.
Yeah, but Dylan's going to have to, if he wants to go onto the soft, Dylan's going to have to go deeper, surely. I mean, we're on lap 33. He's going to have 25 laps. I suppose it's doable.
Yeah, we've seen Thomas Cook do 23 on him. So it is...
Yeah.
Might need to stretch it for another 3 to 4 laps, and then he's safe.
In a safer window. Yeah, I agree. If he can stretch it that little bit more, I mean, he's within the window now. 25 laps to the end of this race, but he's staying out. So I suspect, I agree, Nicky. I think he's going to try and stretch it out, probably to 35 laps if he can. Maybe even more if he can, but I think 35 is probably going to be. Sorry, not 35, 33 laps. I would expect him to do so, come in on lap 35, but he may well stretch it a little bit more to 35 laps and then come in on lap 37, so that'll leave him 20, 21 laps. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Luke Slade, in the meantime, is closing down on Phil Harris. Phil Harris still, well, he was under 8 seconds, 7.5 seconds now from Callum White, but Callum White is not closing down that gap to his teammate Tom Stevens.
No,
Tom Stevens still maintaining that gap round about the 5 second mark, isn't he?
Yeah, surprisingly, very surprisingly, especially because Tom's tyres are 33 laps old now. I mean, Callum's tyres are 15 laps old, so they are, the best is nearly gone of them as well. But
yeah,
I would have expected Callum to
close down a bit more.
Past Tom, to be honest.
Well, I've got to say, we were saying that he was probably going to close down to him round about lap 31, but he hasn't. I mean, we're on lap 34, and he still isn't any closer. And indeed, he's starting to lose time now, in fact, to Tom Stevens.
Yeah.
So, Tom...
Really solid race from Tom Stevens so far.
It is a solid race. It's a shame about the penalties, though, because that's 15 seconds worth of penalties, Nicky. I mean, that's a lot. That's going to count for quite a lot at the end of this race.
Yeah.
So let's run through them. We've got,
well, I would expect Luke to be needing to come in as well again. Well, don't forget, Luke started on the soft tyres as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. And this is the thing. We were talking about Luke closing down when we were counting that Callum was going to close down and Luke closed down to Tom, but Tom has maintained that gap. So at this moment in time, that soft option, that advantage that both Callum and Luke Slade had is starting to very rapidly drop away, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Starting to fade away very quickly. Maybe Phil Harris is able to keep going on these tyres because he has completed his two mandatory tyres.
Yeah, I've got to say, yeah, I mean, Phil Harris is definitely looking strong at this moment in time.
Yeah.
I
For the
wouldn't
win,
be
still.
surprised if we see him actually finishing second on this podium this evening.
If not the win. 16 laps he's done now on these tyres. It's 23 laps remaining. There's 39 laps. It's going to be close.
No, Nicky,
We've got
there's
Dylan Platt doing
24 laps remaining. So 24 laps. He could...
40 laps and...
Yeah, 40 laps on those tyres. Yeah.
It would depend what Dylan Platt is going to do with his tyres. He's 33 laps old now. If he can squeeze out another 7, then Phil Harris is looking very good for the win, actually.
Well, it's looking pretty close. I mean, we've got... I mean, look, the way I'm looking at it, Nicky, we've got... potentially 3 drivers that could still take this podium, take this top podium, take this first place at this moment in time. There's 3 drivers there that could easily take it, depending upon what everyone else does and obviously what happens. I mean, we've seen Thomas Cook, Adrian Rich, Matt Goodyear and Ryan Lee DNF. So anything can happen. We're on lap 36 of 58. We've got 22 laps remaining of this race. So, yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. Good news is that we're down to 10 drivers, so everybody will get points. So let's quickly run through the field. So, Daniel Burr in the Haas at this moment in P10. He's on 23 lap old mediums. He's got Tony Foster ahead of him, just under 10 seconds ahead of him. Tony Foster has been lapped, and he's got Josh Diggles ahead of him in P8. Josh in the second Haas had a great start to this race. He's on 20 lap old mediums at this moment in time. I'm just trying to see whether he could likely improve on that. I think it's going to be a push. I mean, he might be able to get P7, but it's going to be a hard fight, I think, for that. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Nicky.
Well, Dylan Platt still need to pit, so yeah. I think that from P5 to P8 is really open for everyone still.
Yeah, I've got to say I'm inclined to agree, because even though there's a different mix of tyres, they're all going to be pitting probably round about the same time. The only exception to that is Gary McKenny in the McLaren. He's driven a good solid race, McKenny. He started in P7, he's up to P6 now. But a good solid race from him so far. He's on 17 lap old softs. He's looking good. I think he could potentially maybe take another 1 or 2 places, maybe move up to P4. But as you rightly say, and he's coming in now. So McKenny's coming in now. So he's coming in early. I would suspect he's going to go. He can't go on to another set of softs, though. I think he has to go on to a set of mediums now, doesn't he?
Yeah. Suppose so.
Yeah. Sean Gregory, he's in P6. He's on 10 lap old soft tyres. Then we've got Dylan Platt, who we've been discussing in the Alfa Romeo. Solid race from Platt here. He's on 35 lap old medium tyres. Longest run that we've seen for this race on the mediums. We're pretty sure that he's looking to get into that soft window, and he's comfortably there now. I mean, he's done the 35 laps on the mediums. Surely he's going to have to be coming in.
Pits as well. So has Luke Slade.
So Callum White and Slade into the pits. Okay, now this is interesting. This is going to be very interesting indeed to see. Callum White goes on to the mediums, as does Luke Slade. So Luke Slade and Callum White onto the mediums. Dylan Platt coming round now.
Phil Harris in the pit.
Final set of corners. Harris comes into the pit off 18 lap old mediums as well. And these guys, they're now in that soft window. That's what they're looking to do, isn't it? And Phil Harris is definitely going to go onto those softs. Dylan Platt stays out. So he will take P4.
Mediums.
And he's got mediums. Okay. Well, that's because he didn't have any softs available. He must have run out of his allocation and he's had to go onto the mediums. Tony Stevens picking up the 3-second time penalty here. So Dylan Platt moves up into P4. Phil Harris is behind him on a fresh set of mediums. Dylan Platt is going to have to be coming in soon. He's now on lap 36 on those medium tyres. I say he's going to be coming soon, but we've said that, well, I've been saying it for about the past 4 laps, so see what happens there. Josh Diggle's picking up another.
Tom Stevens coming in.
Tom Stevens coming in. So Stevens coming in, and he is definitely going onto a set of soft tyres. No doubt about that at all. So Callum White.
Yes, it's soft.
Yeah, Callum White coming round now, and Tom Stevens is going to be able to get out ahead of his teammate. 26 seconds was the gap.
Yeah, he is going to come.
So he's going to be coming out ahead, and Tom Stevens is looking very strong now for P1 for this race. Top of the podium. Callum White coming round now, and we'll see what the gap is. Callum White, fastest lap so far, 1:24.972. So he really laid it down as soon as he realised that his teammate was in the pits, and 4 seconds, just over 4 seconds is the gap. So he hasn't really eaten out a lot, has he? I mean, there was just under 5 seconds. It's only about 7/10. Dylan Platt into the pits. Phil Harris out. So once we've had this little round of pits, we'll do a quick summary to see where the drivers are, because obviously it's going to mix things up. But
He's on the softs.
Yeah. Tom Stevens, I will suspect most of them, if they can, will be going on to their softs. So Tom Stevens, we're on lap 39 of 58, 19 laps remaining for this season 1, race 1 of F1 tonight, UK. Tom Stevens leads the way. Callum White is in second place. His teammate, he's just over 4.5 seconds behind his teammate. Luke Slade in the McLaren. Good solid race from Slade. Moves up to P3, and I've got to say, he's looking good to maintain that position and finish third on this podium at this moment in time. But Phil Harris, well, unexpected. He's gone on to the mediums. We did expect him to go to softs. Nicky, I can only think he's just used up his allocation there.
Yeah, it's really unexpected.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely unexpected. But we'll see how that finishes. Sean Gregory, he's in P5 at this moment. He's on 12 lap old soft tyres. He's not going to be able to go the distance on those. So interesting to see how he's going to work it out. He's got Josh Diggles 14 seconds down the road to him on 23 lap old mediums. Now we know these mediums can go a lot deeper. We've seen them go up to 37 laps. So at this moment in time, well, potentially he's got at least another 14 laps in there. But he won't be able to go to the end of this race on those, I suspect. So yeah, going to be interesting to see how that pans out between Josh Diggles.
Platt is here, going to Josh.
Dylan Platt is challenging. Dylan Platt takes the place from Josh Diggles, moves up to P6.
On his fresh tyres.
Yeah, exactly. He's on a nice fresh set of soft tyres. So pretty straightforward move there. Josh Diggles down to P7, Dylan Platt up to P6, and Dylan's next target is going to be Sean Gregory. But he's on 13 lap old soft, so probably a little bit more of a challenge to close down the gap to him. 17 laps remaining. I think he can do it. Let's see what Dylan Platt can deliver. Sean Gregory, though, he's on 13 lap old soft tyres, and he's got 17 laps to go. He's going to have to come in, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think there's no two ways about it.
Come in, get new tyres, because he's only going to lose more out of this.
Well, that's the thing now. You have to judge when is it? If you know you're going to come in and you're starting to lose, obviously, traction on those tyres, you then got to think about when do I come in? And sometimes it's worth coming in, earlier, even though you've still got life in your tyres, in order to take advantage of the gap that you currently do. He's got 13 seconds at the moment on Dylan Platt, 13.5 seconds. Dylan is going to start eating into that in a major way. If I was Sean Gregory, I'd be looking to come in as soon as possible. I don't know what you think on that, Nicky.
Yeah, he needs to come in. He needs to cover up. He needs to cover for Dylan. The longer he stays out, the more he's going to lose.
Yeah, definitely. And I think probably, well, I don't know if he can go on to another set of softs. I'm just trying to think, Sean Gregory, I think He may be able to, because I think he started on the mediums. I'm not certain of that, but I think Sean Gregory started on the mediums.
Yeah, Sean Gregory's done start mediums, then soft, so
Yeah.
he still should have another set of soft tyres.
He's got another set of softs.
Well, Tom Stevens just put the fastest lap of the race in.
Oh, wow. So,
A
Tom,
1:23.1
1:23.1. So,
compared to Callum's last lap of a 1:25.
so there you see Tom Stevens sets the fastest lap, 1:23.1 so far of the race. So he's got that extra point as well, remember, for 2019 season. An extra point is awarded to the fastest lap. And at this moment in time, that is Tom Stevens. I suspect, though, Nicky, that we're probably going to see that go down.
Dylan Platt just put the fastest lap of the race in.
Yeah, I was about to say
22.8.
22.8, yeah. Literally, as I was saying, I'm sure we're going to see that come down. Dylan Platt delivers. And indeed, Dylan Platt there now delivers the fastest lap of the race with a 1:22.862. So great run there from Dylan. Now this is really starting to come alive now, isn't it, in the closing stages of this race? Well, let's have a look at those gaps. We've seen the fastest laps. Let's have a look at the gap now. So let's run in reverse order. I think Tony Foster, he's in the Ferrari. He's at this moment looking to pick up a point for Ferrari. He's 7 seconds off the back of Daniel Burt. He has already overtaken Daniel Burt on 30-lap-old hard tyres. He's got 15 laps to go. He could potentially go to the end of this race on... No, he can't. He's on the medium. Sorry, I thought he's... No, he's on the hard. So he could potentially go to the end of this race, Daniel, on those hard tyres. But Tony Foster surely is going to be catching up with him very soon.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Daniel
just
Burt,
looking at the penalty points,
yeah,
and the front of the field is really close because Callum's got penalty points as well.
so 8
9
seconds
so far.
currently separating Tom Stevens and Callum White, 8.5 seconds.
And Tom's got 15 seconds, and Callum's got 9 seconds penalty.
So 6 seconds
Tom
is the
is-
gap. So at this moment in time, Tom is ahead of Callum White. 6 seconds is the actual gap between Callum White and Tom
No.
Stevens.
2.6 seconds.
Yeah. So very, very close indeed. Gary McKenny, he's in P8. He's on 6-lap-old mediums. Those will take him to the end of the race. But he's got Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso.
Who's just pitted.
Who indeed has just pitted and gone on to the soft tyres. So Sean Gregory
And he's
is
behind
already
Josh.
closing down on Josh Diggles, just ahead of him. So Josh Diggles in the Haas, he's on 27-lap-old medium tyres. They come round 11-12, and I would expect Sean Gregory to be closing down that gap. Ooh, dear me, a
just
little
got
bit of a
the
wobble
sideways
there
there.
from Josh Diggles out of 12. It's given Sean Gregory the opportunity to close right down now. He's right on the gearbox of Josh Diggles as they're coming round turn 14 into 15, and now this is his opportunity. He wants to be at least 4 tenths off the back of Josh Diggles as they come out of 16, and he certainly is. He's 2 tenths off the back, makes the move early doors with that DRS straight there, straight in front of him. Sean Gregory takes 6th place from Josh Diggles, and these two guys have been battling throughout the race, haven't they? All the race
Yeah,
they've
all
been
race long.
battling. And I've got to say, there's been some great battles as well. I mean, some real...
We've got Gary coming up to Josh as well.
So Gary McKenny is now closing down the gap to Josh Diggles. He's 3 seconds off the back of him, but he is rapidly closing down on him. Josh Diggles on those medium tyres, 28. I don't think he's going to make them last the same way that Dylan Platt did, by the looks of it.
Nah, he's really struggling now.
Yeah, definitely. So Sean Gregory, he's in P6. 13 seconds down the road to him, though, is Dylan Platt. Dylan Platt currently in 5th place on 5-lap-old soft tyres. He's got 15 seconds to Phil Harris. Phil Harris is in the pits. Phil Harris is in the pits, so Dylan Platt I think will be taking, yep, Dylan Platt will be taking that 4th place from Phil Harris. Phil Harris coming into the pits and going on to a set of softs. Now that is really, really weird. Did he just call it wrong when he came into the pits earlier?
I would think so. It's really strange to come in after 6 laps on the medium tyres. Really unexpected, but he might think that he's able to overtake Dylan and still maintain that 4th position and put the fastest lap in.
Yeah, because, I mean, he came in, went on to those medium tyres, and we were scratching our heads thinking, why has he gone onto the medium tyres? Surely he can go onto the softs. Thinking his allocation was there, but clearly he did have the allocation, so I'm wondering if he just didn't call it wrong when he came into the pits 6 laps previously. Anyway, Phil Harris comes out in P5. He's just under 7 seconds behind Dylan Platt, but who's also on a set of soft tyres. So I think he's got his work cut out for him to close down to him, but I'm sure he will. So let's keep an eye on that one.
And we got Sean Gregory behind Phil Harris now as well, 6.6 seconds.
Yeah, he is very close in behind there. Dylan Platt, well, he's in 4th place. He's 24.5 seconds behind Luke Slade in the McLaren. I think Luke's looking pretty solid at this moment in time for that P3 position. He's 17 seconds off the back of Callum White. Can't really see him closing down that gap in the next 12 seconds, 12 laps, but we'll see how that goes. Anything can happen. Callum White at this moment in time now is losing. He's lost a lot of time. He's lost 6 seconds.
Yeah, he's losing and keeps losing.
He is losing time. Unbelievable. But then again, you know, Tom Stevens, he's gone onto those soft tyres. He's got 12 laps to go now. Yeah, I mean, he is just charging through. And what can we say? I mean, a great opening race. We haven't finished yet, and I'm not going to, say, but so far, I mean, Tom Stevens has driven an almost perfect race, really, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's done everything right. He just does what he needs to do.
Yep.
And let's just get up to the medal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I said, I've come across Tom for some time now in commentating for Synergy, and a big shout out to Synergy PWR, People's World Racing. They're Division 2, are actually racing this evening as well, unfortunately, on a Tuesday. But tomorrow night is their Division 1 race, and I'll be commentating on that with my co-commentator, Adrian Rich. So if you're interested in this, then tune in to that. That's Synergy PWR. And you'll find it certainly an interesting race. But at this moment in time, Tom Stevens leads the way, and he's already catching up to some of the back markers here. And as we said, he has driven a great race, it has to be said. Very, very impressive so far. He's actually catching up to Tony Foster there in P10. So I think he's actually going to lap him. I think it's the second lap, not too sure. Yep, Tony Foster moves aside to let the race leader through. Daniel Burt
and Tony
just
Foster
down the road.
is only 1.5 seconds behind Daniel Bird.
Yeah, and indeed, we were expecting
and on the fresher set of tyres.
Tony to close down to him. So Tony Foster now closing down, and again, we've seen this though. Tony Foster, say 1.8 seconds off the back of Daniel Burt, but we've seen this earlier on. They've been fighting out as well, the Ferrari and the Haas of Burt and Foster. So expect more action very soon in that one. Daniel Burt there just being lapped by Tom Stevens as they coming round turn 10. You can see Tony Foster in the background there. Gary McKenny is closing down on Josh Diggles. He's 1.3 seconds off the back of him now. And yeah, Josh is definitely losing time on those mediums. Surely he's got to have to come in. Yeah, he comes in now. Josh Diggles into the pits. Gary McKenny.
In my opinion, way too late.
Way too late. I totally agree with you. He should have come in about 3 or 4 laps ago at least, because he had the opportunity, and now he's really got his work cut out for him. He goes on to a fresh set of soft tyres, Josh Diggles, but he's definitely got his work cut out for him. Gary McKenny.
Yeah, he's fallen back rapidly, so I think Josh is just set for P8 at the moment.
I think you're right.
20 seconds behind Gary, so he's never going to close that gap.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that one. And this is, but Nicky, this is the thing. This is where strategy is so important. But it's difficult for these guys.
Phil Harris crashed.
Phil Harris has crashed. Phil Harris has crashed out. Yeah, and that is again on the exit of turn 12. Phil Harris. Oh, what a shame there. Such a great race he was having. Phil Harris in the Rocket Williams.
I think we have a virtual safety car now.
I'm not too sure. The safety car is up. I don't know if it's a VSC.
I think.
Yeah, safety car. I think it's actually the safety car.
Is it?
Sean Gregory coming in. I think it is. I don't think it's a VSC. Sean Gregory into the pits. Dylan Platt into the pits. So everybody taking advantage.
Now, so. This is going to be exciting.
It is a safety car. Now, this is really, really going to mix it up now, Nicky. We've had Dylan Platt come into the pits. We've had Sean Gregory come into the pits. Everybody that can is getting onto those soft compounds. And indeed, Tom Stevens is coming into the pits as well. So Tom Stevens coming into the pits, our race leader. He's not going to take any risks. He's going to be going onto those soft compound tyres as well. Well, what a turn up for the books. I said anything can happen, and it certainly has. We've had the safety car come out due to Phil Harris DNFing on the exit of turn 12, and now everybody's coming in that can and going onto a fresh set of tyres. Tom Stevens comes out of the pits, he's leading the way. He will meet the safety car on the way round, but this means that the cars will bunch up. Now, safety cars come out lap 49. There he is, there's the safety car. Safety cars come.
The other thing is, we're going to have to see who's got how many penalties.
Yeah, because
this
6
is really
seconds.
Tom, because Tom's got 15 seconds worth of penalties. So if everything's bunched up with 8 laps to go.
And the real gap is 6 seconds between him and Callum White at this moment in time, penalty-wise. So he has to open up a gap greater than 6 seconds in order to keep ahead of Callum White. So, and Callum White's got 9 seconds worth of penalties. I don't know how many Luke Slade's got.
Luke Slade's got 6.
So Luke Slade's got 6. So 6, 9, so 3 seconds is the gap. So this is going to really mix it up. Really going to mix it up.
Just gonna see what Dylan Platt's got for penalty points.
Right, well, let's quickly run through the field.
Dylan has got any. I think he's not got any points.
Well, while you're having a look at that, Nicky, I'm just going to quickly run through the field. So Tom Stevens in the Mercedes is in P1, sitting behind that safety car at this moment in time. As you can see, Callum White, his teammate, well, he's sitting in 2nd place. Then in 3rd place we have Luke Slade in the McLaren. 4th we have Dylan Platt in the Alfa Romeo.
This is interesting.
5th we have Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso. 6th we have Josh Diggles in the Haas. 7th we have Gary McKinney in the McLaren. 8th we have Tony Foster in the Ferrari, and Daniel Burt in the Haas is currently P9. So he's going to have to unlap himself. I think he can. I'm pretty sure he can. He can. Well, actually, that's an interesting point here. Daniel Burt finds himself behind Tom Stevens. Can he actually overtake the safety car to reassume his place?
I'm not sure if that's implied in the game. In real life, you could.
Yeah.
The lights on top of the safety car will go green, and the cars that are lapped can pass it then. But I'm not sure if that's implied in the game as well.
Well,
implicated in the game as well.
Applied. No, applied, you're right. And for those of you listening, you may well think that Nicky is British. He isn't. He's actually, as I mentioned earlier, one of our Dutch colleagues from the F1 Tonight Dutch League, and a very, very competent driver, I have to say. And but his level of English is very, very good indeed. Certainly a damn sight better than my level of Dutch, Nicky.
Well, I would think Dutch is a bit harder to learn than English.
Well, yeah, well, I don't know. It depends which way you look at it. So there we have. That is our field at this moment in time. Tom Stevens leads the procession behind.
What I was want to say.
Yep.
I just looked at the penalty points for Daniel Platt. He's holding, if I'm not mistaken, he's got the fastest lap of the race, and he's only got 3 seconds worth of penalties. Wow.
So Dylan Platt could potentially move up to second on the podium.
He's virtually in first place right now.
Oh, now this is a real mix, and this is where I said the points come in. Tom Stevens now slowing the pack down as safety car comes in. Tom Stevens will launch out of 15 into 16 now. And now this is the race start again. This really is the race start again. Tom Stevens leads the way. Callum White is in second. Luke Slade is in third. Dylan Platt is in fourth. Sean Gregory is in fifth. But look at this. Dylan Platt gets a hold. Dylan Platt gets ahead of Luke Slade. Moves up to P3. Luke Slade down in P4. Sean Gregory still behind. Josh Diggles now is overtaking Tony Foster. Moves up to 6. Gary McKinney trying to get past Tony Foster. Get back into his place there, because obviously he's lapping him, so Tony Foster's effectively unlapped himself, so a little bit confusing, but there you go. Tony Foster is in 8, Daniel Burt is in 9, but Tom Stevens leads the way. He's pulled away from Callum White. He's 1.5 seconds. Dylan Platt is only just over a second behind them. Luke Slade, though, 6/10 off the back of Dylan Platt, and Sean Gregory 8/10. So this is really like lap 1 all over again, or lap 2, whichever way you want to look at it. So this is really intense now.
A 5-lap sprint race.
Yeah, this is it is. Yeah, it's a 6-lap sprint race, as you rightly say there, Nicky. So this is going to really mix things up.
In order for Tom to win this, he has to create a gap between him and Daniel Platt for 12 seconds.
Well, he's got to do 2 seconds a lap. It ain't going to happen, is it? Well, I suppose if anyone can do it, if anyone can do it, Tom Stevens can. He does just set the fastest lap at 1:22.1 of the race. So, yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting indeed. So, even though you're seeing these drivers in the positions that they are, even if they cross the line in those positions, penalty points will come into play. And at this moment in time, virtually, as my colleague was saying there, Dylan Platt is actually the race leader. Well, this is intense, and what a great close to this season 1, race 1 of F1 Tonight UK. Well, I've got to say, Nicky, it's been action all the way, and it's action right till the end, isn't it?
Oh, it's Josh in the crash. It's going sideways. So it's Josh right behind Sean Gregory at the moment.
He is right on his tail.
There have been scraps from start to finish. It really is amazing to watch this race.
Fantastic opening race. And Josh Diggles yet again is in a battle with Sean Gregory, and they're fighting for 5th place. Valuable points in the championship for them. And Josh Diggles coming round, I think he's a little bit too far off. He's 6/10 off the back of Sean Gregory, but he's going to close down to him. Now watch him on the exit of turn 2. We want to see how much he closes down, but Josh is pushing. Josh is really pushing, but Sean Gregory is pushing equally. It's just out of there. He hasn't got the DRS. This is very close indeed.
But Sean is pulling away again from Josh.
Sorry, Nicky, I'm just cutting back because Callum White is closing down the gap again to Tom Stevens. He's within the 1 second.
DRS.
He's within DRS range. Dylan Platt not quite within DRS of Callum White, So the two Mercedes are fighting it out till the bitter end. But points is what's going to make the difference. And remember, 6 points.
More importantly, gap between Dylan and Tom, 1.9 seconds.
Yep. It's very, very close. At this moment in time, Dylan Platt, if it stays this way, will take the race win. But Tom Stevens needs to get at least 6 seconds, between him and his teammate if he's going to assume a position ahead of his teammate. So, yes, this is very, very, very tough. We could see Tom Stevens drop down to 3, Callum White stay in 2, and Dylan Platt move up to 1st. So, yeah, very interesting indeed. But Luke Slade is still in the mix as well. He's only 2 seconds off the back of Dylan Platt. Sean Gregory just under 3 seconds off the back of him. Josh Diggles, again, just under 3 seconds off the back of Sean Gregory. So this is really, really close between these, certainly from 6 to 4th position, and then 3rd to 1st. I mean, this is amazing. We've got 3 laps remaining. 3 laps remaining.
Closing up on Blatt's closing up on Callum. 5/10, so it's DRS range.
Yeah, he's within DRS. And Luke Slade picking up a 3-second time penalty. This is not what he wanted. But look at this, Dylan Platt right on the tail here of Callum White out of 12. He's got the DRS. How much can he close down to him?
DRS, though. He's not opening his DRS for some reason. I've seen him do it.
It's probably intense.
A couple times already.
This is concentration, Nicky. This is intense. You know what it's like. How many times have you forgotten to open your DRS when you're this close?
Not a lot. Oh, near losing.
Oh, very rough round 16 there. He's lost time. Dylan Platt round that final corner. Callum White probably a little bit of a sigh of relief there. But this is close now. 2 laps remaining for this race 1 of season 1 for F1 Tonight UK. Oh my God, I'm getting so excited I can't even speak.
This has really been a stunker of a race. Really
this is close. Daniel Burt picking up a 3-second time penalty as well. Everybody out on that field is pushing and pushing hard. Luke Slade, 2.5 seconds off the back of Dylan Platt. Dylan Platt, 5/10 off the back of Callum White as they come round 9 into 10.
Really closing. Really closing.
Is he going to be able to make the move down into 13? This is critical now. 2 laps remaining. 2.25 laps. He's closed him down. He's on his tail now, out of 13. Oh, little bit of a slide there. Little bit of a wiggle. Coming down to 15, but this is the loss of downforce, isn't it, when you're this close to somebody?
Yeah.
And it's Callum White now. He needs to be about 4/10 or under off the back of Callum White to make a move. He's 6/10 off the back of him. It's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. Can he get something out of turn 2?
Using his DRS. He keeps forgetting using his DRS.
He's got it now. He's opened it now. There's your DRS. Into turn 3.
The one for visual glitch then.
All over the back of him. No, he just opened it on that last one. That's it.
Yeah, it still showed on my screen that he didn't, so I might have a visual glitch.
Not unusual. This is Code Messers. So, Dylan Platt in 3rd place. 7/10 off the back of Callum White. Callum White in 2nd place. He's 2.8 seconds off his teammate. Tom Stevens is leading this race, but he's not going to win it. We're on lap 57 to 58, 1.5 laps remaining of this race. Tom Stevens currently leads the field. Callum White is 2nd. Daniel Platt is 3rd. Luke Slade is 4th. Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso 5. Josh Diggles in the Haas 6. Gary McKenny in the McLaren 7. Tony Foster in the Ferrari 8. Daniel Burt in the Haas is currently P9. Oh my goodness me. Final lap. Just about to start now. Tom Stevens starts his final lap. He's only 3.3 seconds ahead of his teammate. He's going to lose that place. He's going to drop down to third on the podium. Callum White, I'm pretty sure, will stay in second. But Dylan Platt...
Dylan's all over the gearbox.
Yeah, Dylan Platt is all over the gearbox, as Nicky says, of Callum White now. As they're out of 5, coming down into turn 6. Into 7. Oh, Callum going wide out of that. He's lost time. Dylan's on his tail now as they're coming round 8. Who's going to be brave into turn 9? Is he going to make the dive? He's going for it, but he doesn't quite make it. He is right there on his tail now. As they're coming round 10, he's looking to make the move before they get into 11. Is he going to be able to make it? Yes, he does. What a fantastic move there from Daniel Platt. Takes him round 10, leads the way round 11. He's in that second place. Callum White is really pushing now behind him. He doesn't want to finish behind him now, but he's going to finish behind him anyway, because Dylan Platt is going to take the win. Tom Stevens comes round 16. He crosses the line, but he's not the winner. Dylan Platt comes across the line, takes first place. Callum White is second, and Luke Slade is third. Sean Gregory is second. Oh my goodness me, we said that points would have come into it. We didn't even take account of Sean Gregory, but what a fantastic finish there. Sean Gregory for Toro Rosso takes second place. What a fantastic run for him. I'm sure he's going to be very, very happy indeed. But Dylan Platt is our race winner. Dylan Platt takes the win for Alfa Romeo. Dylan Platt wins race 1 of season 1 of F1 Tonight UK. What a fantastic, fantastic race. I've got to say, one of the best. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Nicky, what are your thoughts?
Oh man, this really has been a really good race. Lots of action back and forth, and really unexpected finish. Just a shame for all the penalties that guys have collected over the last 58 laps.
Yeah,
what a race!
What a race indeed. It's the name of the game. There you have the final results. Coming up, I've got to say, dearie me, I need to take a very serious drink now, because funnily enough, I've got a really sore throat now, Nicky. Don't know why. So there you have it. Dylan Platt wins the race for Alfa Romeo, takes the full 25 points. Sean Gregory for Toro Rosso comes second. Fantastic race there. Callum White is third for Mercedes. Fourth is Luke Slade. Fifth is Tom Stevens. Gary McKenny is 6th. Josh Diggle 7. Tony Foster 8. Daniel Burt 9. DNFs, Phil Harris, Thomas Cook, Adrian Rich, Matt Good. Good. Can't remember his name now, but never mind. Goodyear, that's it. Goodyear. And Ryan Lee finishes 14. Well, I've got to say, fantastic opening race here for race 1, season 1 of F1 Tonight UK. We're going to bid you a fond good night. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, tell your friends, tell your family, tell anyone you know that's interested in racing. It's certainly worth watching. We will be back again, same time, different place. We'll be here Tuesday evening next week on the 9th, and we will be at Bahrain on Thursday night of this week, though. So 2 nights away, you can watch F1 Tonight NL, the Dutch League, the Premier League, the guys that kicked all of this off, and they will be racing on Thursday. And where are we on Thursday, actually, Nicky? I've lost my place. I'm so wound up.
Next race is Bahrain.
Oh, yes, sorry. It's the same one, isn't it, with season 1? I'm losing the plot, don't worry. Yep, so yes, Bahrain for the Dutch guys.
Only one of 2 night races.
Yeah, really? Indeed.
Got 3 night races, yeah.
Dutch race on Thursday night, starting at 7:30 UK time, 8:30 Central European time, and they will be racing race 2 of their season 6 at Bahrain. You can join me and Adrian Rich for the commentary team on that. I'm going to say good night, but before I do so, I want to say a big thank you to Nikki, first time commentating and even more scary co-commentating with me. Nikki, I'll let you close with your thoughts and how it's gone.
Yeah, it really has been a stonker of a race, and congrats to all the drivers that finished. Yeah, thanks for everyone that wanted to join, and thanks, Eddie, for this opportunity to commentate with you.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. And yeah, it's been a great opportunity. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to close the race now with our Season 1 UK intro. So it's good night from me. I'll be back next week for UK and Bahrain, but also on Thursday for the Dutch League in Bahrain. So it's good night from me, and it's good night from Nikki. Good night. We hope you've enjoyed it.
Good night, everyone. Until the next time. Lekker schatje.